Hello everybody and welcome to the Cone Racing League. Today we are here for round 9 at the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix and I'm joined today by Hedgehog.
Evening. Hope everyone's well. Looking forward to this race. It should be a crazy race, but we will see. First ever trip to Saudi in Cone, I believe, isn't it? So
Yeah.
It's going to be the first ever race winner in Saudi Arabia tonight in Tier 2.
Yep, Tier 2 gets the privilege of being the first ones to give it a go. Although that will change after the break week. Which, is that after this race or the next race?
The break week is next week, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, we get 2 break weeks in Tier 1 and 2. So we will not be...
I'm quite happy there's a break week next week because I'm on holiday next week and I thought I was going to miss a commentary, but luckily the break weeks come at the right time, so I won't actually miss the race, which is good. This could be this should be a good race. It's got all the ingredients to be a great race, and after last week in Spain, it has the championships really eating up now, and there's not many races to go. Is it 7 now from tonight?
Yeah, I think you're right. No, only 6. No.
Only 6?
No, it is 7,
Okay.
I just can't count.
Oh, 7. So it seems like a long time, but it's not. It'll soon be over, and you know, the opportunity for points starts to decrease as the season goes on. Every point counts, so it's going to be interesting. And Cal Cohen's back tonight as well, as we've mentioned, so
Yeah.
he's missed a couple of races, but he's still at the top.
Still second in the championship after missing 2 races.
Mhm.
Yeah, interesting to see, because the gap between them isn't too much. It's only 23 points behind Nelly Safu. Strauss kind of didn't have the best races the last couple of weeks. Couldn't take advantage of him being gone, but Nelly Safu's had a first and a second while Cal Cohen's been gone. And the fact that the gap is only 23 points shows how dominant it was at the start of the season. But at the moment, the title does seem to be going in Nelly Safu's favour. It's kind of just Cal Cohen defending a strong start from a never-ending wave of Nelly Safu. But now
we need to give a big shout out to the man who won last week's race as well, Big Balls, because he's currently 7th in the championship.
And he's
on
reserve.
83 points. He's only raced 3 races, which is like ridiculous. He's won 2 of the 3 races that he raced, and he of course won Spain last week. He won USA a few weeks ago as well. He's only raced 3 races all season, yet he's 7th in the championship. I mean, you've got to question, if he'd have been here all season, surely he'd have been well in the mix. I mean, it probably is a bit too much to ask in terms of him winning the championship from here, but only doing 3 races and being sat on 83 points is ridiculous.
Yeah, at the moment we are waiting for Toast to join. Actually, we're not. We don't know he's in, so we'll be starting the race. Or qualifying, I should say, fairly soon.
Full wet race, here we go.
There might be a full safety car race, given this track.
Yeah, I don't think so somehow. Just having a quick look at the races that are left. There's some interesting circuits, of course. After tonight, it's the break week, as we've mentioned. Then it's the Red Bull Ring in Austria, Abu Dhabi, which of course wasn't on the calendar originally. That's come in to play more recently. Then we go to, where do we go after that? Like my game, my phone has just froze on me. I believe it's Italy. I think it was Italy. My phone's just off.
Yeah, Red Bull Ring, Abu Dhabi, Italy, which is at Imola.
Imola,
Baku, Spa, and then we finish off with Bahrain.
There we go. I feel like, but I just got a weird thought process. We've already been there this season, but I think we've been to Monza, haven't we? Not Imola.
Yeah, Monza was round 3, and that was the sprint race.
Yeah, that's it then. I thought we'd been to Italy. And then Belgium second class. I picked Belgium. That was my pick last season.
Oh yeah.
So
Tier 4 champion, so you get to pick.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing that. But some interesting races. I mean, tonight's probably going to be one of the most interesting races of the season because it's such a unique circuit. The second longest circuit in F1, I believe, after Belgium. So it's got a lot of corners. I think the corners are into the high 20s. I think it's 28 corners around this track.
There's something silly like that, does it say on this?
Yeah,
it's 20,
I think I've got
27 corners.
27 corners, there you go. 27 corners are
6.1 kilometres. So
yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Only Belgium is longer than this track, so it's going to be a long one tonight. But fast pace as well for a street circuit. It's a very fast paced circuit. But for me personally, I know everyone's different, but I always felt that Sector 1 is the toughest on this track. That's just my personal opinion. I'm sure that everyone's got different opinions, but Sector 1 is so easy to get a penalty because there's that many corners. You can see constantly turning the car. And I think we'll see a lot of... I think penalties could play a massive part tonight.
Yeah, well, penalty, safety cars. I can't imagine this is a completely clean race. I'd be very surprised if all 20 drivers made it to the end here. I think we'll see 1 or 2 tyres lost in some walls, especially some front wings. that one's going to be quite chaotic.
Captain Nick to win tonight. There you go.
Do you know what? It would be an amazing story if it was, because I think this being this track, everyone's kind of thinking, alright, yeah, he's going to follow somewhere. And he's got some good pace behind him. We've seen in the past. He can be consistent, but he kind of struggles to get there.
I think the beauty of a race like this, it can go to anyone. This type of race like this, it's not necessarily about being the quickest. You know, there can be an easy mistake on this track. There's no room for error on a circuit like this. If you come off the track, you're probably going to be in a wall. There's not really any room for any errors. So I think it could. We said last week in Spain, it could potentially be someone different. And I think tonight's very similar. I think you could see a shock tonight. We saw a shock last week, didn't we, on the podium? Was it 4-star?
Yeah, 4-star.
In his first podium of the season.
Pretty sure he got driver of the week as well overall.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, he overwhelmingly got driver of the week, I think. But that goes to show that anybody of these 20 drivers can get on the podium. And a track like this as well, where mistakes are very easy to happen. If you lose the car, you're probably going to go into a wall. There's going to be safety cars. There's going to be damage. There's going to be all sorts. And I think it could be a great race.
3 DRS zones to work with, and of course lots of the drivers may pull some inspiration from Max Verstappen's qualifying lap, minus the last corner incident.
Minus the end.
What a lap that was, minus that one corner. So
minus the last. A corner early, it would have been great. Would have been the perfect lap. Unfortunately, he slipped. So I'm currently on board with Paul Paradox, who I believe is going to be the first driver to undergo a lap here in Jeddah. So we'll keep an eye on him as a McLaren. Not too far behind him down the road, but he just passes the finish line now and starts his first flying lap around Jeddah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever driven this track. Or maybe I have briefly, but it's not one I'm particularly familiar with.
I've been I personally, I've just gone onto the wheel, so I did this track on the wheel, and I have to say, from a personal opinion, it's much easier on the wheel than it is on the controller. I've been told that it's a track where it favours a wheel driver over a controller driver. So I don't know, what everyone's on. I don't know what drivers are on wheel and what on controller, but I've been told, and from personal preference as well, it does favour the wheel on this circuit. So that could be interesting as well. I know that some are on controller, some are on wheel, so that could play a part. But I felt personally, whenever I've done this track personally, on both the controller and the wheel, I felt a lot more comfortable on the wheel going around the corners.
There's all these sweeping corners where you just that extra fine bit of tune, you can push it that much more, go exactly where you want the car to go.
100%.
Paul Paradox here actually, so he's going to perhaps get a bit of slipstream from Sadistic King in front of him, unless he pulls to the side. Nice, seems to be helping him out.
Yeah, he's in the McLaren sandwiches. The McLaren not too far behind, which is told, but Sadistic King was doing a
hopefully
fine
moves
job there.
out the way of Cole Paradox, otherwise he's not going to be too happy. Does move out the way in the end.
Yeah, he's done a fine job there, considering they're not teammates. He's helped him out massively there, giving him a tow all the way through sector 2.
That was
Paradox going to set the first
there we go.
28.5.
Toves be the next one. I was wondering, Toves up into second, I was wondering if Sadistic King was then going to try and get slipstream off Cole Paradox down the start of the straight to have a slightly faster first sector.
Ooh, Strauss. And a very solid 128.1. Next is going to be Doolittle, who goes with a 29 dead. So the lap times are second separating the top 4, so quite widespread at the moment. But we know Doolittle's got a lot of pace in him in that permanent Ferrari seat now. Next, I believe, is the Mercedes, and I think is this a reserve of the SW?
Yes, replacing Deluxey. Actually, I think he's also going to be in the GT7.
Oh well.
There we go.
Reserve, is it?
Off for a good start.
Yeah. A bad time.
Other reserve being underboss here.
Well, he's not a bad reserve. He's setting. We've seen a couple of strong reserve performances this season. One in particular back in USA. When we mentioned earlier, Big Balls has 2 wins this season. One as an AlphaTauri permanent driver last week in Spain, but one as a reserve driver for Red Bull. So we've seen it already this season where reserve drivers have done a very good job. Maybe EFW can get some very good points in Mercedes tonight, who are back down into 10th in the Constructors' Championship. He went up to 8 for a couple of weeks, Mercedes.
Yeah, there we go.
Going to be okay. And then rock bottom again, back down to 10th. So maybe ESW and Carl, to be fair, setting a good first lap there as well. So both Mercedes drivers looking pretty quick in the early stages of Q1. So possibly it could be Mercedes' night tonight for once.
Of course, interesting. Cal Curran coming back after missing 2 weeks of racing and still being second in the championship, immediately going second fastest, possibly already safe at that time. It's the two
Not bad, is
McLarens
it?
coming along. Don't think Toby's improved his lap, but Sadistic King of 31. Well, I should just Sadistic now. Use his old name. 31.5. So, going to need to improve that lap. Won't be particularly happy with it. I imagine there was a mistake somewhere along the line. Nelu Safu. Oh no, he's entering the pit lane. Who's our next driver then?
I'm just on board with Nelu Safu now. He has on a lap actually. He's just got a purple sector 1, so he's had a good start to his lap.
I must be looking at the rest.
He is currently our championship leader. He's also top of the Constructors' Championship as well, but Ferrari and Alpine are closing the gap, and Red Bull, to be fair, on the Aston Martin team, all in the 800s, so there's not much in it. But Aston Martin have been Constructors' leaders for quite some time now and continue to do so, and that's down to Nelu Safu. He's scored a lot of them points, as has Strauss, to be fair.
Well, yeah, both doing a very decent job. First and third in the championship.
Yeah, scored a lot of points, contributed to a lot of points, haven't they? And he's up to 5th.
Oh, yeah, just behind his teammate, yeah.
I don't know who's next. Captain Nick is in the pits. He's gone back into the pits, Captain Nick.
Ooh,
So Captain Nick.
I'm going to say 4-star, but 4-star invalidated. So it'll be any driver. 4-star invalidated.
Mercedes off as well. Whether that was the XW letting people pass, I think that's the case. Yeah, it is. I thought Captain Nick had just gone into the pits, but I do apologise. He's not. He's come out of the pits onto an outlap. So I do apologise, Captain Nick, if you're listening. I thought you'd gone into the pits and not done a lap, but he's just come out and he's currently behind Nelu Safu on his outlap. I've got a couple of interesting facts. We don't love the facts on stream.
Always.
Great facts about. Well, we love a fact, but I've got a few. I mean, this one might not be as interesting as some, but this is the fastest ever street circuit in F1, which is probably not a surprise. It's a very fast-paced circuit. Of course, only ever raced once in the F1 calendar. That was last season. It's brand new to F1. It was a pretty controversial race last year in real life, if I remember rightly. Hamilton and Verstappen making contact with one another. I do remember it being a very controversial race. Will we see the same tonight? Will we see the championship leaders battling it out, making contact? Who knows?
Well, I'm sure we won't see one of them trying to let the other through and then just driving into the back of them. Yeah, our drivers have better standards than the actual F1 drivers, of course.
Yeah, by comfortably better drivers.
Yeah, easy.
I'm with Bobby Captain Nick here, who's about to start a lap. Let's see what Captain Nick can do. Where can he put himself? He's had a pretty disappointing season so far, I think that's fair to say. It's not quite worked out for him. Sat towards the bottom of the championship. However, one of the people that is around him, or was around him in the championship, was 4-star, and he got a podium last week, so maybe it could be Captain Nick's night tonight, who knows?
Always eclipsed the wall, though.
Oh, did you see that as well? I'm going to say, just clipped the wall, didn't it? Not a great start, but look, it doesn't seem to have picked everything. He has invalidated in sector 1, so that is his lap over already. So Captain Nick is not going to be setting a lap anytime soon around this circuit.
Now, of course, advantage of this being Q1, there's still 9 minutes left of the session, so you can push now and 40 at the lap times better. I'm trying to see amongst these bottom guys if any of them are on a lap. I think it's just Claire PR. The other 3 have all invalidated their lap, so only one of the drivers yet to set a lap out of those actually on a valid one. Big Bull's still in the pit lane.
Just looking at the... I'm on board with Captain Nick. Just looking at the fans, there don't seem too many of them here. You know, I did some research before the race. Now I looked online, and according to my research, 300,000 fans were in and around Jeddah for the Grand Prix last year, which was actually Jeddah's the most popular tourist region in the country. But I'm looking here at the moment. I know it's only Q1, but I'm not seeing that many fans. I'm pretty disappointed with the turnout. And to be fair, there's quite a lot in that grandstand there, but. You know, just hanging around the track. There's not as many as what I thought. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be here for the race, but not to mention the fans. Got to get a word in for the fans. No umbrellas tonight, though. I'd be very surprised if we see any umbrellas tonight. I think that's safe to say.
Draper invalidated. It seems to be that. What turn number is it? About turn 4 or 5, where all the drivers seem to go deep and then just have to come back on track, going over the white line. Captain Nick now heading towards. Is it this one? I think it might be that one, yeah. But in sector 1, catching out a lot of drivers, it seems. Captain Nick making it past there now. We'll stay on board with him for the rest of this lap, really pushing the track limits there. Surprised he didn't go over the white line.
That's on track as well.
Yeah, only got 1 lap in.
On board with, it's not Drake's, it's the other Red Bull. It's DC. I think I may have just missed it. I've just missed it. There's an Alpine there as well. But Hobbsy, who to be fair, is an informed driver in the championship, getting some very good results recently. He's currently sat I believe, 5th in the championship, just behind DC. So he's having a good season, obviously.
Yeah, one of the drivers who's, you know, making the guys up front stay humble. They have a few bad races, he's a few good races, and he'll be right up there with them fighting.
Well, it means he's probably going to be starting this race dead last. If the other drivers get at least a lap in, they will, I believe. Does it matter what lap they get? Can they jump in regardless?
They do have to beat him. They do have to beat his lap.
Okay.
So if
start last then.
Yeah, if less than 5 drivers don't beat his lap, then we'll only have 14 go through to Q2. There's Captain Nick now coming to finish his lap at 28.3, just behind his teammate up into 7th. I think Captain Nick might be safe with that lap, so a good start to qualifying for him.
ESW, the only driver in the 27 league at the moment, so confidence from me. I believe this could be his first ever racing cone. That may be wrong, I'm not sure about that, but I've not seen him before personally, but he's having a very good start tonight in that Mercedes reserve seat and currently sat top in Q1. He's retired in the pits and you can't blame him, there's no reason for him to stay out. I am currently on board with the Red Bull of DC, who's not going to improve on this occasion. However, his big rival at the moment is Hobbsy, so DC, knowing that Hobbsy's gone out in Q1, will no doubt bring a smile to his face.
Yeah, I'm trying to find who we currently have furthest along the track. I think it may be Claire PR. I mean, he's trying to improve, currently just half a tenth down after the first 2 sectors, so still plenty of chance to try and bring this lap back. Doesn't need too much time to gain too many positions. And the field does actually look slightly more spread out than normal.
Yeah, it does. It's not. Don't get me wrong. Towards the top, it's quite close, isn't it? You know, 27.9 down to a 28.1.
So he does improve. Do you know what? Look at this: Aston Martin, Alfa Romeo, Williams. If Cal Cohen wasn't splitting the Mercedes, we'd have 4 teams in a row like that.
Hey, you mentioned Captain Nick. He's looking good tonight. Set a bit of pace in that Q1 section. Looks like he's comfortably going to be through. Who's at risk then? Well, Haas could potentially lose both their drivers here. Lars, he's going in the pits.
Oh, so interesting. He was green as well.
Either.
So I think either made a mistake in the last sector we didn't see, or knows he can just go that much faster and wants to do them fresh tyres.
I don't know how long's left, but once again I have a big yellow flag on the top of my screen, so it's not telling me how long's left.
8 minutes 15, I think.
Long. Oh, still plenty.
Oh no, 5 minutes. Okay, I can't count.
Still plenty of time. For Lars to get out. 4-star is as invalidated. He's on track, but invalidated. Ooh. Big Balls and Drake's on outlap. Big Balls would be a surprise.
DC up to 8th position.
Okay.
And now the guys up front closing up all of a sudden from ESW. I guess JR, I think ESW is the team. But from JR down to what? Claire PR, only looking at 6 tenths or 6.5 tenths. So that's 11 drivers.
I'm on board with last week's race winner, the Alpha Tauri of Big Balls, who currently is sat 19th in that drop zone. However, he's not set a lap time as of yet, so he'll be hoping that with 4 minutes till he can get a nailed on lap time here and comfortably put himself into Q2. It'd be a big surprise, I think it's fair to say, if Big Balls wasn't in Q2. Like I said, 2 race wins in only 3 races this season. He's been superb. He's won in USA and in Spain. I think he DNF'd in Britain, if I remember rightly, so he's got a very good record this season. 2 race wins for 2 different teams. Yeah. We were joking last week, wasn't we, in the podium interview, that he'd be racing for every team. There's 6 races to go. So he can represent every team apart from Haas and get a win for them. But stays in the Alpha Tauri, he's a permanent driver.
I'm sure we
to get himself into Q2.
Have to get permanent seat, of course.
Oh yes.
Lots of the reserves, you know, always looking out for it. There's, I think there were 4 people who applied for that seat, so it's just kind of the driver who's done the most reserving, available the most often, that usually gets it. Of course,
he's certainly not a bad driver across the team, is he? And Alpha Tauri won't be too
bad.
Complain about
the ball, though.
He's lucky not to invalidate that.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I certainly lost time from it,
lucky.
though.
Yeah, he did lose time. I thought it was invalidated then, though.
Hang on,
completely cut
what
the track.
on earth has Strauss done? Oh, wrong one.
In a wall, potentially. No visible damage, but I did see that as well. Yellow flag, wasn't there?
I think
maybe a bit of a wobble. So has that cost Big Balls then? I mean, he should have done. He does go up to 11th. I mean, I think he's lucky he didn't invalidate there, I must admit. He's a very lucky man there. I mean, it was an accident, he didn't do it on purpose, but he completely cut the corner.
Yeah.
Interesting one. But he is probably safe with that. I mean, I'm not saying that he's
I
dropped
don't know,
again
12th.
now.
Still what Draper said the lap with. Sadistic King has paced 4-star on the podium last week. Underboss we've seen do well. And Lars hasn't yet set a lap he's happy with. As Draper invalidates yet again. So I'm not sure Big was just safe at that time. But I imagine he's currently trying to improve that lap. And
he should improve, shouldn't he? As long as he doesn't slip up again in that Q2. Sorry, in that sector 2, should I say. Should be
is
okay.
it sector 2? I thought it was start sector 3.
Oh, it may have been.
Oh, he slipped up again. He's caught the wall.
Yeah, he's hit the wall. That's him done. He's not going to improve now.
Well, you think he can get to the line in time?
It depends how much fuel he's got, doesn't it? That's the only.
Yet to have the fuel symbol.
Might need a bit of luck here from other drivers.
Yeah, because it's quite hard to see when there's a almost constant yellow flag across the circuit.
Well, there's a lot of outlaps around behind Big Balls. Colour PR, Doolittle, Underboss, Lars, and Sadistic, all on outlaps. 4-star. Is he on a lap? 4-star? He was. He's invalidated in the pit, so that's him done. So last week's podium sitter going to be starting down into potentially 18th, but maybe lower.
Yeah, so Lars is now on a lap. I'm slightly worried about Draper. Can't see how long's left, but Draper still in the last sector. Not going to get this lap. I know he does have plenty of time. 1 minute 15 left on the clock.
Big Balls retired. I mean, he's not comfortable there, is he, at all?
No,
Again, he needs a bit of luck.
Maybe he's going for another driver of the day. Last to first challenge.
Well, Lars had a pretty sticky sector 1 there. Again, he was lucky not to invalidate. He's 2 tenths up on his previous time, but he looked a little bit sticky, that sector 1. I must admit, he cut the corner a couple of times, went off the track, could have easily invalidated the lap. Got away with it, but he didn't look very smooth. Hopefully, he can improve that as he enters Q2 again, sector 2, going into sector 3. But it wasn't a smooth start to the lap, that's for sure. One Haas is already out. Will the other one be out as well and not make it into Q2? And Lars and Hobbsy, to be fair, are normally two that go to the latter stages of qualifying. So
as Lars invalidates, he's gone. That's him done. Both Hasses knocked down in Q1.
Around, does he? No, he's not enough time, has he, to get round? No way. So yeah, Lars is done, and that's going to help Big Balls out, who edges towards safety, but Lars will not get to the line in time. So yeah, he's going to be out.
Thing to point out, currently only... Oh, Draper invalidating, so that's Draper gone as well. Hobbsy only has 5 drivers behind him, so actually, currently there will be 6 people not in Q2 unless one of them behind can improve. We know it now just between Sadistic King Underboss. And Underboss. Where's Underboss? He's
coming towards sector 3 now. I didn't see what his sector 2 time was, but he's in the final sector, about to go around the last corner. He'll be open to improving.
Yeah, he needs 4 tenths here.
Otherwise, like you said, he'll be potentially 6 out in Q1.
So yeah, I think it was only a tenth or so that he had.
Ooh, no, not enough. Where he is. So can Sadistic King do it? He's a tenth up. That's not going to be enough.
Tenth and a half. But he needs a good last sector. Yeah. Oh no, and that's just his first sector.
Oh, he's 4 tenths up. There you go. That's more promising. But again, he needs more. Obviously set a decent time, so it's not going to be easy.
I think Sadistic King is on pad here,
Sadistic.
so he is going to struggle slightly on that front. DeWill is safe. It's just now the case of, are there 6 or 5 drivers knocked out of Q1? Can Sadistic King beat Hobbsy's time?
I don't think so. Nowhere near. No. Nowhere near.
No. Yeah.
So there's 6 out in Q1, which makes it a little bit easier for the Q2 drivers to get into Q3, but 6 out in Q1. Hobbsy, Underboss, Lars, 4-star, Sadistic and Drake. Some big names out there. 4-stars mentioned a podium sitter last week, driver of the week in Cone Racing League last week. Hobbsy, 5th in the championship, had a bit of a wobble that's cost him there as well. Both passes out, both Ferrari. I mean, one Ferrari's got very lucky, and the other one's got very unlucky because Doolill's just edged it through and Underboss has just nicked out. And Big Ball's not looking very convincing either. Of course, it is only Q1. I'm sure we'll see better lap times as qualifying progresses, but Big Balls with 2 wins in 3 races this season, last week's race winner, not looking very convincing in Q1, and again was fairly lucky there. You know, he wasn't comfortable.
There's something to quickly draw your attention to. The times of the top 13, there's half a second between them. Ooh. 13 drivers by only half a second.
That's interesting.
So Q2 is going to be absolutely phenomenal.
Full wet Q2, come on.
So yeah, JR getting the fastest time, nearly a tenth ahead of Cal Cohen, current P2 in the championship.
Yeah,
Yeah, look at these times.
Good.
Big Bull's 5.5 tenths off the leader, down in 13th position. So I think you're going to struggle to get mediums through to Q3.
It's going to be tasty. It's going to be tasty indeed. I mean, fair play to JR. If this is his Cone debut, he's the only driver that got into the 27s in Q1. Mercedes will be happy with that. Both their drivers in the top three, setting some very early pace here. Mercedes, as mentioned, currently bottom of the constructor standing, so need a good night tonight to get some points. Maybe JR could be that man that sparks their season. Who knows? But speaking of a fact, should we do a quick fact? Why not?
Yeah, go on.
It's not really a fact, this one. It's more of a something that I had a look at earlier on. So, obviously, Jeddah joined the F1 calendar last season, didn't it? It's his first ever race in F1. It did sign an 8-year contract with Formula One, so it's going to be here for the long run. However, in 2023, Saudi Arabia are planning to make a new circuit. Now, I don't want to pronounce this because I don't have a clue what this city or this place is called, but I think it may be Quidia. Again, I don't know. It's Qidddiya, and apparently in this city, it's going to be a brand new circuit that comes into play in 2023, and there's rumours that that circuit could potentially replace Jeddah. So, only rumours, only rumours, but potentially Jeddah, who did sign a long-term contract with F1, could be replaced in its own country by a different circuit. So, that could be one to look at. That's happening quite a lot at the moment, isn't it? Obviously, USA's got another circuit now as well. There's multiple circuits in Italy. We've seen it before, but potentially maybe even two Grand Prix in Jeddah. Who knows? Who knows? Sorry, in Saudi Arabia, not in Jeddah. In Saudi Arabia, maybe Jeddah and this other place. But 2023 new circuit in Saudi Arabia, so that could potentially replace Jeddah on the calendar. Who knows? But maybe in season 10 of Coma could be in a new circuit. Saudi Arabia got a different circuit.
I'm trying to see if I can. Have a look at it now. I'm seeing if I can find anything to get to just play the sound, but I can't seem to find one. Started construction in 2019. It says here.
Yeah, it says it's a new motorsport complex which is set to be completed by 2023. It's actually conceived by a former F1 driver, Alexander Vers. Can't say I know who he is personally.
Has he been in Formula E? I think I recognise that name.
I do recognise the name. I just don't particularly, I don't know who he is, but I do reckon the name rings a bell. But apparently, there's rumours that could replace Jeddah. It's also here's a fact. It's set to all this site that the new track's set to be held at is also going to have the world's fastest roller coaster next door to it. So there you go. There you go.
Can't just hop in an F1 car then and be in there. Fastest.
But it's an interesting one, that. So, we're going to be in Saudi Arabia for the next few years in F1, but maybe at a new circuit. I mean, Jeddah's fairly new in itself, I believe. Only constructed a couple of years ago, so...
Well, but yeah, I seem to remember that there's all these things about it still being constructed and finished off with just a few weeks to go.
Yeah, I remember when the race was about to start, they were still doing things to it. I'm like, that looks a bit weird. Yeah. Still finishing the track on the weekend of the race.
It's like, there's scenes in Tom and Jerry where they're putting the track down as the drivers are driving along.
leaning out of the carriage, putting it down as they come along with. We are in Q2. Again, it is dry. I mean, we're not going to see any rain. It's nearly impossible. Like, we saw rain here, I don't know what I'd say. It'd be crazy. But yeah, very warm temperatures in Saudi Arabia. You're not going to get any rain here anytime soon. So don't worry about rain, but...
Can't even see any clouds.
It's not bad weather, is it? But this could be a crazy race. Strauss is the first driver on a lap. We know that he's certainly capable of getting and fighting for pole position. He's done it on many occasions this season. Is he third in the championship?
Yep,
I believe?
third in the championship.
Yes. Last year's Tier 3 runner-up. Came so close to winning Tier 3 last season, but missed out to Cole Paradox. Could this year be his year in Tier 2? Maybe we'll get runner-up again, who knows? But
it seems quite possible the way things are going. Although, current battle does seem to be Cal Cohen and there we go, Clerpiot. Second fastest, Cal Cohen versus Nelly Safu. They're the two biggest names got on the grid.
I think this circuit is so unique in the fact that it's the second longest circuit in F1, but it's also the second quickest circuit behind Monza. That's ridiculous as a street circuit to be the second longest and the second quickest. Like, I think this is a track where some like it, some don't. I personally I like this circuit. I think it's nice to drive. But
It's a spectacle and a half.
That's amazing.
It's like you go on the action camera and it's all these amazing camera angles, and you go in cockpit camera and you just see them, well, yeah, and you just see how close the drivers all get to the walls.
Mental.
Like
it is a mental
there aren't any
circuit.
bad camera angles on this track. It's just you get taken along for the ride.
That hotel that's in the middle of the circuit, you can have a great view from the top floor of that hotel, aren't you? You'll see the whole track. I bet they're expensive on race. I bet they're expensive on race days. I bet they're expensive anyway, but especially on race weekend. Now, for all you women that are listening to that, here's a fact for you. You probably won't like this fact. It's not a great one, but can't believe I'm even saying this. Up until 2018, women weren't even allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia.
Huh?
That is mental, isn't it? That is mental. Up until 4 years ago, women couldn't even drive in Saudi Arabia. They can now, don't worry, they're allowed now. But I think that's a ridiculous fact. That's pathetic, isn't it?
I mean, at least they changed it, but then again, like, you took your
That is
time.
mental. When I saw that, I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, 2018, women couldn't even drive in the country. They can now. It's all right, you know. All women that are watching, it's okay. But yeah, I think that shocked me a little bit. There's a few things in Saudi Arabia that are a little bit dodgy, so it doesn't surprise me that much. But yeah, it did certainly surprise me a little bit. Strauss is in the pits once again. It's Strauss behind Cole Paradox. Strauss can't seem to get ahead of Cole Paradox, can he? Finished behind him last season in Tier 3. Once again, he's sat behind him in the quality. ESW Junior, or JR, not as quick on his first run as he was last time. He blitzed it in Q1, but again, whether he's just easing it in, taking his time, still a decent lap by all means. So, who's your favourite for pole at the moment? Any early?
Do you know what? I'm really not sure because JR's shown some really good pace, but he's currently down in third. Yeah, a bit of a slow time there. Could have been a small mistake. We've got these guys who set their laps on mediums. They've done a good job. Still 8.5 minutes left to improve on those times, but Carl, of course, you can't discount him, give him that lap. And then you've just got the guys who are quick every week anyway. So if I had to pick one person, probably Nelu Safu. I think he's in the best form at the moment across the season. He's certainly Mr. Consistent in this tier.
Would you say Nelu Safu over Carl Cohen at the moment?
I think, yeah. I mean, they both just have that refusal to not be up at the front. You know, they'll have safety cars thrown at them. They have their plans just tossed out the window, and they'll still be right up there. I think my money for the moment is on Nelu Safu. We'll see how that pays off.
Yeah, we'll see. I think I wouldn't want to mention it. With a circuit like this, anything can happen. Obviously, even in qualifying, we've seen Hobbs in Q1, didn't we? There is Nelu Safu going for it to 28 dead, the same as Cole Paradox. But we've seen it with Hobbs in Q1. One little mistake on this track, and normally on other circuits, if you make a mistake, you can get away with it. You'll go onto the grass or onto the gravel. But there's really no room for error on a track like this. You know, the walls are literally surrounding the circuit. They're touching the edge of the track. So one little hiccup here, and you could be in big trouble.
Yeah, Big Ball's having that hiccup.
Yeah, I was going to say, a bit of a wobble there. Look, he did the same in Q1, didn't he? He had a bit of a wobble.
Yeah, he had it. His car was unsettled the previous corner. Actually, someone managed to hold it, but I think kept his foot in it a bit more than he maybe should have. As a result, lost it. And he had a purple middle sector on these mediums. He was on for. I think he would have been the fastest medium driver. But yeah, now having to pull into the pit lane, that lap not going to have any good from it.
Well, it is a pretty easy strategy, this track. It's either a soft medium or medium soft, all being well. So I was intrigued to see if any of the drivers would have tried to start on the medium tyre rather than the soft, but again, it's going to be very difficult to stay in that top 10 on the medium tyre and progress into Q3. I think you're going to need to go on the soft. See Big Balls and as if he tried it, they're both already towards the bottom end of the ladder. I think you're going to be seeing all the top 10 on the softs, and then potentially if you start 11th. I've said it a few times this season, that P11 spot. If you start 11th, maybe gamble on the medium, be the highest medium on it potentially, and go for that longest stint. It could pay off. I mean, realistically, we're going to see a couple of safety cars out that you'd expect.
Alex
anyway.
invalidating him. Yeah, given the track.
So, I mean, maybe that P11 spot could opt for the mediums over the softs, but I don't see any of the top 10 progressing on mediums. I'd be very, very surprised if anyone did that.
Carl now setting his first lap on the soft tyres, and certainly looks like he's flying at the moment. That slight bit of ping from where the kind of predicts where he's going to be, that makes him look like he's going to go offline so often here. Other tracks less noticeable, but here you're just pushing the limits so much more. Going for the lines, you can see just how close the drivers get to that wall on the right there.
I mean, Carl's another one. I don't think he's here tonight. But we mentioned Krishna. I don't think Krishna is here tonight, is he? I think he's replaced by a reserve in Q1. But Krishna's very similar to Carl for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, Carl's currently sat eighth in the championship with 78 points. It's not poor by any means, but he's another one that seems to had a bit of bad luck. I remember going back to Monza when he won the one-shot quali. He started on the pole position for the sprint race and it didn't go to plan. And he's the other one that seems to have this great pacing quali, but doesn't seem to get much luck in the races. There's a few that have been like that. Obviously, we mentioned he's not here tonight, but we mentioned.
Well, I think Carl might now be on for a 27.8.
There you go.
Never mind.
27.6.
Well, that's a statement and a half.
Mercedes are looking scary tonight. We saw JR in Q1 and Carl in Q2. I mean, obviously it's only qualifying and things can change, but at the moment Mercedes are looking very strong and they're currently sat at the bottom of the championship, have been for most of the season, so this could be, fingers crossed for them, it could be the break they need to get some serious points tonight.
Strauss now also on a good lap, 3.5 tenths up currently. That looks at putting him about a 27.9 flat. Needs 3 more tenths though in the last sector to catch up with Carl. I don't think he's going to go right to the front, but I think he is going to jump his teammate. Place second. Sorry, excuse me. Coming down the final straight now. No no slipstream from any other drivers, but does have the DRS to use. Yeah, there we go. Just a couple tenths behind Carl. Should be safe for that lap, but other drivers still plenty of time to improve. Tobes and Alex both have invalidated somewhere.
Yeah, Dan's currently in the Red Bull. He's currently having a bit of not a difficult time, by any means. He had a pretty poor first lap. However, you've got 33.5 minutes to go. He's on an out lap now. He's nowhere near the starting point yet, but just getting his tyres ready for what could be a big lap. And DC again, big driver, fourth in the championship. He's just pulled away from Hobbsy a little bit after that great battle. He's not too far behind Strauss, DC, at all. 18 points separating DC from Strauss. So a good result for Dan tonight and a poor result for Strauss could quite easily put Dan back into the top 3 of the championship. He's a multiple podium sitter this season, having a very good season in that Red Bull. So you'd expect him to be into Q3 and for battling for pole. Was he on the front row a couple of weeks ago? I remember, I don't know what race it was, I remember him being on the front row in a race quite recently. He's another one that's capable of getting race wins and fighting for pole positions at the moment. Not in that top 10, but on the fresh softs. Got a good opportunity here to improve his time and cement his place in Q3.
Carl Cohen's about to drop down a very big lap for him. Might be another 27 we see. Yep, 27.7 splits Carl and Strauss. Another very strong lap that he'll be happy with.
Yeah, Carl Cohen's so consistent every week. No matter what track it is, what conditions it is, every week in both qualifying and in races, he's so consistent. I mean, he's missed 2 races this season, yet he's still sat second in the championship, 196 points. It's quite ridiculous, really.
And he's a 4th place off Nelly Safi. If Nelly Safi doesn't finish and he gets 4th, he ties. They're the same.
I think you mentioned it earlier. Carl Cohen had great consistency earlier in the season, whereas Nelly Safi, we didn't really see much of him. And then all of a sudden, Nelly Safi just seemed to click into gear and hit that consistency. I mean, Carl Cohen is what? He's well in the mix of the title. He's 23 points behind, like you say, Nelly Safi. He's a P4 that. He's missed 2 races. We're only in round 8 tonight.
This is round 9 out of 15, so half the season done. 8 rounds down, 7 to go.
He's missed 2 of them races, yet he's still sat second in the championship.
Actually, he's missed
within a shout of winning the championship.
He's missed 25% of all the races.
That's ridiculous.
So you'd expect him to have 33% more if you extrapolate it up. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what he's on at the moment, but if he'd got the same kind of results he's been getting the other 6 races, he would have a mile ahead of the rest of them.
I mean, realistically, how many people do you think are in this title battle? Because for me personally, I think Nelu Safa and Cal Cohen, obviously. I don't rule Strauss out. I think
Strauss is definitely
now,
still
he's
there.
more than capable. After that, do we think DC's in a title fight, or do we think...
It doesn't feel like he's in the title fight, but he's not there. He's the underdog, so if he does get it, it'll be very impressive, but he's already got that disadvantage points-wise. He's not shown to be the most consistent or strongest driver, so there's no guarantee that he'll be able to get up there. I wouldn't rule him out completely, but I wouldn't say
a big moment through qualifying. Tobes was just DNF'd on track. As JR once again, Mercedes looking good tonight, but Tobes DNF'd on track, crashed in sector 1. Nelu Safu had to avoid him, and unfortunately for Nelu Safu, whilst trying to avoid him, has invalidated his lap. Now he's still fifth, so he's okay.
Oh, Alex is out. Alex just invalidated. So Alex Tobes not going through. Well. That's just 2 drivers left. One of which I can confirm.
Bit of a bad look for Nelu Safu there. You know, again, it's not going to cost him too much. He's still probably he's going to be in Q3. There's no doubt about it. But bit of bad luck. What was it about Big Ball struggling? There you go. That's a 2-time race winner in 3 races for you. And it's telling you what, this is going to be wide open. Is it going to be a Mercedes, Aston Martin and Alpha Tauri battle? Because at the moment, the top 6, 2 Mercedes, 2 Alpha Tauris and 2 Aston Martins. This could be ridiculous.
Something big on. De Wheel's on a slow lap, so it is now just can Resifi escape, get into the top 10, and what can the other drivers do about it? So Resifi currently 8.5 tenths green on these softs. He's flying. He's probably going to be in the 27s. He's got the pace for it, and we know he's a good qualifier. So it's a case of what can other drivers do to defend. DC currently the man under threat here. In the last sector already.
Not too far behind. DC's just behind Resifi, isn't he?
So he needs to try and jump Club PR. I guess Captain Nick can guarantee his safety.
Captain Nick in Q3, but let's see. Here comes Resifi. It's big. Where will he go? He'll jump up to 4th and knock. And now DC into that drop zone. Will he get back up? He will.
DC, so it's Club PR versus Captain Nick. Club PR's invalidated. Captain Nick is through to Q3, and that's Club PR duel. Alex and Tobes knocked out of the session.
Hey, I say Captain Nick for the win. He can still get pole here. Yeah. Captain Nick for pole. Love that. But what is interesting, normally we have such a mix of constructors in Q3, but both Alpha Tauris, both Mercedes, both Aston Martins, both Alfa Romeos.
Yeah, we've only got 6 teams there.
That's ridiculous.
I think it's the kind of thing you'd expect from Angela F1, where it's just these cars are better, therefore they're the ones that get through.
4 constructors have both of their drivers in Q3 fighting for pole. That is ridiculous. And for the Constructors' Championship, that is an interesting one, of course. It is a combined constructor with the other tiers, but Aston Martin lead the way. Alpha Tauri, I remember early in the season, had a really dangerous start to the season, scored a lot of points and was currently sat at the top. They're down in 7th now, so they've had a bit of a dip. Maybe that's due to Cal Cohen missing a couple of races, because he has contributed to a lot of their points. But they're down in 7th, and Mercedes, as mentioned, are rock bottom. They've been rock bottom for every week bar 1.
Yeah.
So they've only been as high as 8. Oh, bar 2, apologies. They've only been as high as 8 all season, so... At the moment, in terms of qualifying, they've got 2 drivers that are well in the mix tonight. Yeah. Look at that in Q2.
Look at that top 4.
It's ridiculous. And that's with Cal Cohen, and Nelu Safu not even in the top 4. The top 3 in the championship aren't even in that top 4. We could genuinely see anyone get pole here. Literally.
Yeah. Now, interesting thing to point out about the constructors, the gap between Aston Martin and AlphaTauri in 7th is only slightly bigger than the gap between AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo in 8th. Yeah. So those bottom 3 teams have kind of been left behind in the dust. They're all over 300 points down, whereas it's only 165 from AlphaTauri up to Aston Martin in 1st. So really, it's anyone's game in terms of the constructors, apart from the bottom 3, who have kind of already been left behind.
I think we need to get hashtag Captain Nick for polls trending on Twitter. That's what I reckon. I mean, normally you have a rough prediction, don't you, as to who's going to get pole. This could genuinely go to 6 or 7 of them quite easily. I think this is wide open. I mean, I wouldn't like to call it. This could be the closest battle for pole. I know we had a joint pole position back in Australia, which feels like years ago now. Get a race there. But
let's match that European 97 one. 3 drivers all matching on pole.
I think we've got 7 matching on poles. But it's wide open, like I said, with 4 different constructors having both their drivers in Q3. It's great for the constructors' battle as well. So, as we mentioned, 2 Alfa Romeos, 2 Aston Martins, 2 Mercedes, 2 Alpha Tauris, 1 Red Bull, and 1 Alpine.
Yeah,
and
it
that
was
Alpine is last year's T3 champion, by the way. So it's a great mix of drivers in this Q3 session.
Yeah, it was the 1997 European Grand Prix, where 3 drivers all tied for pole position.
We've had 2 this season, haven't we? We had that.
We've
in
had
Australia,
2, but we haven't quite matched that.
It seems like years ago since that Australia race. Then now it seems like absolutely years ago. A lot has happened, shall we say, since then. We are into Q3. It is the final session, and the battle for pole. 11 minutes or so to go, and your current championship, I want to say leader, he's not leader, currently second in the championship, Cal Cohen, is going to be the first driver to try and tackle a lap, and he wasn't in the top 4 in Q2, was he? In terms of pace,
No.
He's got a job on Cal Cohen. He does like a pole position and a race win, but it's not going to be easy for him tonight. He's got quite a few drivers tonight that are going to challenge him, including his teammate. Now, what I will say is that team of Cal Cohen and Big Balls is some team. That is a great team.
Yeah,
that could score
strong.
a lot of points.
That might be. It's them and Aston Martin, the 2 strongest teams here.
Yeah.
Well, and Mercedes. I mean, all 3 of those teams have 2 strong drivers.
Well, currently Captain Nick is on pole. Currently, he's the top.
Provisional pole. Yeah.
10 minutes away from pole. You know, I call the win tonight for Captain Nick, and at the moment, it's going to happen.
But yeah, here, both AlphaTauris, both Mercedes, both Aston Martins. Who else? Recife, definitely on for the pole. The people who wouldn't really expect it as much. Captain Nick, Cole Paradox, and DC. Just those 3 though, but DC capable of it. Cole Paradox we've seen can be quick. I mean, there's only really 1 or 2 of them that you wouldn't expect to get a pole, and even then, it's not beyond the realm of possibility. They just need 1 good lap as Cal Cohen invalidates his first attempt.
Yeah. I'm going to say he started a little bit sluggish there, Cal Cohen. It wasn't a great couple of corners at the start. He went really wide. The exit, I think it may have been turn 3. He didn't look comfortable, and it wasn't a great sector on. He has invalidated, as you say. So not a perfect start for Cal Cohen. At the moment, I wouldn't say he's favourite for pole. I think there's a couple others that are ahead of him. However, you can't underestimate Cal Cohen, and he can do something out of nothing. So still 1 way to go here. I have no doubt he'll be in the mix come the end of the session. I think it's Recife that's next behind him.
Yeah, Recife will be the first man to set a lap, assuming he doesn't validate himself. My question for you, what do we think the pole lap's going to be? How low in the 27s are they going to get? Are they going to just completely blow us away and somehow get into the 26s?
I'm going to say a 27.3.
I think they might get down to 27.1.
Well, I mean, if they do, fair play. What I will say is I think it's going to be better. I think it looks pretty obvious, but I think we could be looking at less than a tenth between 4 of them here, 5 of them.
Yeah, well, we had that in Q2, so it's just a case of replicating that again. The drivers will now know they need to be pushing harder, so we're more likely to see a driver in the wall, because they just want that much more time out of it.
Here comes your first lap in Q3, and it's already a 27.3 already. So,
I don't like your odds. Strauss 27.5.
But Recife, I mean, that's a good lap. That's a very good lap. He's more than capable of challenging the pole himself, like you say. So, Cole Park's about to start his lap. Behind him is then ESW, who goes a little bit slower, but he tends to do that. We noticed that before, didn't we? In Q2, his first lap wasn't exactly the quickest, and he seemed to shoot out of nowhere in the end and challenge. But 3 laps are coming so far. He's currently with a very impressive 27.3.
Nelly Safford with the next man. Nelly Safford the next man, followed by Carl, which will make it half the field, assuming neither of them have been validated. And these drivers, again, both drivers who we could see up at the front. Nelly Safford is certainly fast, current championship leader. And only 4th fastest, so we're going to try and find some more time there. Carl then.
He looks quick
up
as
into
well
second.
Tonight, Carl. He looks very quick tonight, Carl. He looks he's on it. It's going to be Cal Cohen next, then, unless he's not. He's setting a lap.
Yeah, I think he is.
He's setting a lap. Yeah, just have to double check. So, here we go with Cal Cohen. Then we're going to cross the line. The championship P2, only 4th.
5
so currently at the moment,
thousandths behind Strauss.
Cal Cohen 4th. The championship leaders have got a test on them tonight. To even get on the podium, there's a few tonight that are going to be up for this. This could be a wide open. But honestly, I'm sitting here at the moment, looking at all of that top 10, and not to mention the likes of Hobbsy that even get into Q3. I think genuinely anyone could win this race tonight. I think it's that wide open. On a track like this as well, where there's no room for error, I think it's wide open, this circuit tonight.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find any of the drivers who are on a lap. Is Nelly Safford trying to improve? No. Who's behind him? Carl. Seems unlikely he'd be on an improvement of a lap. Given his... Is he? I can't tell. Yeah, it's 3 drivers still in the pits yet to set a lap. I think we saw Big Balls go out and track and invalidate up on into the pit lane or something.
Sorry, I was just speaking to my dad. Apologies. But have I missed anything over that past 30 seconds?
Don't really think so. I was just mentioning how we saw 3 drivers yet to leave the pit lane, and I think as I'm saying that, he looks like Captain Nick Stott may be moving.
Well, Big Balls did that last qualifying session. He didn't set a lap at the start, and then all of a sudden just came out of nowhere at the end and went to the top. I mean, there's 5 minutes to go, and genuinely, any of these 10 could get pole. I genuinely mean that.
Yeah.
Because
you're not wrong at all.
Even Captain Nick, I know that some people may think there's no way Captain Nick's going to get pole. Why not? He's in Q3, he's set consistent lap times throughout the first 2 sessions. I genuinely think he could get pole. I honestly, any of these 10 out of nowhere could get pole. There's no reason why they couldn't, which is ridiculous. And then you mentioned, obviously, I've already mentioned Hobbsy. There's other big names to this stick as well. It's not made into Q3. I mean, honestly, 4-star podium set last week, not in Q3.
Yeah, and none of the drivers currently setting laps. So I'll stick up with standings just so we can see how they're looking. So the top 5, bit of a gap down to the rest of the field. 32 points between Hobbs and Carl Paradox. And Hobbs actually a fairly healthy gap down to Big Balls, 25 points there. So that top 5 or 6 breaking away from the rest of the field. You can see really the championship battle is down to the top 3, but DC not that far off Strauss, and Hobbsley not too far off him. So
wide open.
Yeah,
just
completely.
like this qualifying session, which at the moment is going to Recife, which is an interesting one. Alfa Romeo at the moment getting the better of Mercedes, Aston Martin and AlphaTauri. Of course, there's still time for change. Every one of these drivers you'd expect to come out of the pits and at least attempt to get a lap in. First out of the pits is JR in the Mercedes, who looks very quick throughout this qualifying session so far. He was the quickest in Q1. Not quite set that pace since then, but another one that could quite easily get pole position in. There's just less than 4 minutes to go, and you'd expect all 10 of them to start coming out of the pits very, very soon.
Yeah, so I mean, you can already see what's that, 4 of them out the pits now, 2 of them being Captain Nick and DC yet to set a lap. Sorry, my voice going a bit, I'm going to mute myself and cough.
It's alright, no worries. Yeah, ESW going to be the first out, or JF Jr., whatever you want to call him, but he's in the Mercedes tonight as a reserve, and it does look like he's got a lot in the tank. Looks a very, very quick driver, but just over 3 minutes to go here. The battle for pole is going down to the wire, and it is literally a 10-horse race. Any of these 10 drivers can challenge and grab that pole position. 4 different constructors, 4 different full constructors have had both their drivers in Q3. That's got to be a record this season, surely, with Red Bull only having the 1 and Colpart having 1 on their own. But I'd say that's got to be a record. I mean, having 4 different constructors in the final session.
Well, yeah, and yeah, that means only 6 teams. Usually you'd expect... How many do you get on average? I guess 7 or 8 teams is what you really expect.
We've had 9 at one point, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever had all 10, but girls, 10 is just as rare as 5.
Yeah, very rare. Let's keep an eye on with the Mercedes of JR then, because he's going to be the first driver to try and tackle a lap in. There's just over 2 minutes to go, so not long at all now. And there's still a few that are in the pits, I believe. Yeah,
interesting.
Safi, Cal and Recife. I mean,
all of them have all set laps. Nelly Safi won't be happy with his one though, 27.9.
Leaving it late, that's for sure. No doubt we'll get around in time if they get out in the next 30 seconds, but putting the pressure on themselves, leaving it very, very late as a...
Yeah, Recife and whoever the other one was left the pit lane. It is... Oh, okay, now all drivers are now out the pit lane. But those last 3 only left themselves 1 lap.
They'll come out right in the mix there. Nice smooth set to 1 for ESW JR, who just improved by a 10th.
And a half.
Which isn't enough, but it's going to build his way up. If he continues that throughout the lap, then he'll certainly shoot towards the front of the grid. As he's in sector 2, he's trying to navigate his way through that. Very smooth again, looking strong. He looks good. looks very, very good. And from what I've seen of him tonight in his qualifying session, of course, things can change in the race, but from what I've seen of him tonight, he looks really, really strong, and 4/10 improvement now.
Yeah, no, I think Strauss has timed his lap just wrong. That if he has a bad lap, he won't have time to set another one. He'll only have time for another lap if he sets a good lap. So I think anybody in front of Strauss, that being DC and above, will have time for what they're on at the moment, plus one more. Strauss right on that limit, so I guess we'll find out.
Right left now, where Carl is at, I've seen a lot of drivers struggle there tonight. We saw Big Bold struggle early on. ESW just gone up to third, was very lucky not to invalidate himself there. So that right-hander in Sector 2, as you go into Sector 3, is causing a lot of problems for a few drivers. That could one to keep an eye on in the race.
Yeah, I'm trying to find who got the next one to cross the line. Is that one of the Ashtons? Oh no, Nelisaf on an outlap, so it will be the Big Balls on X-Man. One of the drivers yet to set a lap, and here he comes towards the line, starting off with the 27.3, and he's up provisional pole position.
Well, this takes 27.3 for pole, so we have to beat a 27.3 to get pole. Now, as Captain Nick invalidates, that's him done. Going to be starting 10th, but a great effort from Captain Nick to get into Q3 with some fantastic drivers alongside him.
Yeah, I think he'll be happy with that. You know, he might not be able to start on the mediums, but he's in Q3, and yeah, for the drivers further down, that's always a great thing for them. Especially
Strauss is 2 tenths up. Can he get pole? Here comes Strauss. He also gets into 27.3, but it's not enough to get pole. He did cross line in time though to go again, but he's not going to go again. He's going to step off. So it's Cole Paradox, the Tier 3 champion, who's also a couple of attempts. If he needs to improve by more than that, he wants to try and challenge for pole. His best
over a second off.
3, and it's not going to be enough. He starts 8th at best. That's him done. Cal Cohen will be next, but he's invalidated.
Ooh.
Cal Cohen's going to get 6th at best. So
that's big.
P2 in the championship's not going to have his way yet. He's not going to get pole. Is it then the championship leader Nelu Safu? He's 4 tenths up Nelu Safu. He's looking quick here. This could get very... I did say a 27.3 for pole. Well, 3 of them are in the 27.3s. Can someone break it and get in the 27.2s and get pole? Will Nelu Safu do that? He's rounding the last corner now. Championship leader. Can he take pole once again and start right at the top for Aston Martin?
No.
We cannot.
Only 5th for him.
There's not much in it. Was it 5th?
Who's our next man?
No,
it was Captain Nick, but no, it's Big Balls. He's coming into the pit lane.
Is that also in the pit lane?
So Carl no, he's in the pit lane as well. Who is it? Rizifi.
It's going to be Rizifi.
It is Rizifi.
He's 3 tenths up, he's flying off! Wow! 26.9 for Rizifi.
Well, that's one way to get pole.
Wow, and that is pole, I believe, because that's everyone done, unless Strauss is going again. No, he's not.
No, so yes, Strauss.
Rizifi
ESW
in the Alfa Romeo on pole position, and to be fair, with a lap like that, he's blown everyone out the water there. He deserves it. We were saying there's a few of them on the 27.3s. Can anyone break it? And he's like, yeah, easy. I'll get in the 26s. He's absolutely blitzed pole there by some distance against some fantastic drivers. That's a great qualifying session. And I mean, you look at that.
Yeah,
Owen down in 7th, Nelu Safu down in 5th.
But it's that gap between, I mean, ignoring Rizifi's absolutely monstrous lap, between Big Balls and who's that, Cal Cohen, that's 2.5 tenths between 2nd and 7th. So really, really, really close amongst those guys. What's the smallest gap between them? It's between Nelu Safu, ESW and Cal Cohen. I'm not quite sure what's the smallest gap of the two of them.
What's crazy is if he looks in his mirror and he's got 2 Alpha Tauris, 2 Aston Martins, and 2 Mercedes right behind him. It's a massive Alfa Romeo sandwich, that, from 1st to 10th, with some very quick drivers not even in the top 10. So it's got all the ingredients after a great qualifying to be a memorable race with a lot of drama.
And apparently Rizifi's best practice lap was the 27.0, so he's going to beat his record.
Well played to Rizifi. To get pole there against the calibre of drivers that he's against by over 3 tenths is brilliant. I mean, where's Rizifi in the championship? He's currently sat down in 11th with only 59 points, but with a lap like that, there's no reason why he can't go and get a win tonight.
Yeah, he's one of the drivers who's an amazing qualifier. I don't think he's had many good results.
I mean, if he can keep that like it is in qualifying in the race, he'll be laughing tonight, and he'll be the firm favourite to win the race, because to get pole by over 3 tenths against them lot is some going. And interestingly for Nelu Safu and Cal Cohen, they're sort of in the pack there, 5th and 7th, so it's trying to keep out of danger, not get any damage, they're possibly not used to starting so low down. Not that it's really far down by any means, but you know, 5th and 7th isn't high in the order in terms of the top 4. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get on. You know, can they keep the noses clean? Can they pick the battles wisely? Because it's not an easy track to overtake on, that's for sure. You got to be very careful with your moves and not risk anything that could cost you.
Yeah, drivers, of course. You can see here actually the 2 strategies. Soft and medium drivers pitting around lap 8, 10, and then medium soft drivers pitting lap 15 to 17. But of course, that's assuming no safety cars. And on a track like this, we've already seen some DNFs in the qualifying itself. I can't imagine the race will be much different in that sense. It's still going to be drivers pushing for everything they've got.
No, I'll be quite surprised if there's no safety cars, I must admit. I think that's it's pretty much a guarantee tonight in a race like this. But you never know, stranger things have happened. We went to France, didn't we? And I mean, France is a little bit different to this circuit, but we had nothing in France apart from a VSC.
Yeah, that one.
Turn 1, that was it. So, you know, stranger things have happened over. I will be very surprised if we don't see that safety car come out tonight at least once, but if not, maybe 2, 3 times. And I mean, let's do a prediction. How many DNFs do you reckon out of 20 cars? What's your prediction for DNFs?
I think we'll finish with 13 cars.
So 7. Ooh. I'm going to say 9 DNFs.
9
finishes. Watching now, there's no DNFs, a clean race, no safety cars.
Yeah, we're going to prove us completely wrong. Well, something to keep in mind, there is the red flag procedure, which if there is 5 DNFs on lap 1, the race will be restarted.
5 DNFs on that one, that's crazy, isn't it?
So it's very unlikely to happen, but it's kind of just if there is a massive incident, then...
Well, I wanted to see Claire PR because he was PR and I thought he may have been the highest medium runner. However, he's also opted for softs, like everyone in the top 10. Everyone downwards then has gone for medium, so it's 11 on the softs, 8, 9, yeah, my maths is awful. 11 on the soft, 9 on the medium, so Doolittle the highest medium runner. I think he's in a good position, Doolittle. I'm surprised that Claire PR's not opted for the mediums himself. I thought that in that P11 spot, it would have been perfect. But, you know, I appreciate not doing it as well.
A complete split. Guys in the softs at the front, guys in the mediums at the back. Jabor doesn't really have to worry about challenging further up. I mean, he can try and get past Claire PR if he wants. If he gets a good start, of course he will. But there's not that effort to push too hard.
I think he's in a really good position here, Doolittle. A really good position. Starting the highest medium runner. Again, you've got to be careful because starting in that midfield pack, you've got to be careful of damage. It's quite easy on this track to get damage, especially if you're starting that midfield bracket. But if he can keep his nose clean, set some decent time on them tyres, go on that longer run, you know, a late safety car later on, it could work in his... Of course, it could go against him as well, but I think he's in a good position there. I think it could work out for him. Hobbsy down in 15th, currently 5th in the championship. He's got some work to do tonight, obviously, that's for sure, but we know that he's got pace. So, and if forced to get to no podium from 18th, that'll be incredible. After last week's podium that he got.
Yeah, where's he starting, did you say? I'm being blind. 18th.
Yeah.
So, a nice view of the sea here. It's just, there's so much is going to happen in this race. I mean, I suspect we'll probably see a safety car. You can't guarantee it. Either way, there's going to be loads of action. Lap 1's going to be carnage. But the good news is there's no politics, as we saw in the actual F1 of he cut the corner and overtook me in turn 1. Oh, what have you seen?
Big crash on the formation lap between the bottom 2. Drapes and Sadistic. Drapes just gone right into the back of the McLaren at some speed as well. I mean, of course, they've got away with it because it's under the formation lap, but in the race, that would have potentially have seen a DNF between maybe even 2 of them. It was a massive impact there, and I don't know if that's just a lack of concentration for Drapes, maybe an early break from Sadistic King, but that could have got very messy. But luckily for them two, because it's the formation lap, they've got away with it, but they won't be able to do that on lap 1, that's for sure. Here we go.
Oh, and already the oil's been mixed up a bit. So the 5 lights are up, drivers getting ready. And it's along the hole. There we go. Away they go. And you can't really see what's happening up front from this angle. Big Balls does the inside line. Resifi obtaining his lead is behind Strauss and Elisafi side by
Captain Nick's
side.
been spun out. Big contact between Captain Nick and Cole Paradox. I mean, In fairness, I'd have to see it again, but I don't think Cole Parrott did anything wrong. I think Captain Nick tried to go for a position that wasn't there in turn 1, just got squeezed off the track, but looked maybe a bit of a silly move from Captain Nick that's cost him a lot of places. All that work in qualifying, he's now down to 20th. There's another yellow flag as well, possibly a McLaren, maybe sadistic, I'm not too sure, but yeah, Captain Nick there, the biggest loser from 10th to 20th on one corner.
Yeah, Toe's not on a good start either. He's down 5 positions. Draper already up to 16th, starting 20th. Same with Underboss at 4 positions.
Look
as
at
well.
Nelu Safu. He's got past his teammate. He's already up into third. It's a great start for the championship leader.
2 Mercedes side by side. You won't know Carl tucking back in behind ESW. I do get the feeling that that's his eSport team and he's going to get annoyed at us for not calling him JR. But it's what I'm used to now.
The 2 Hashies all go together. A decent start for the half round. Obviously up 1 place, Lars up 2. Drake's up 4, and now challenging on the inside of Lars, looking for a move. It's very, very close here. The Red Bull versus the Hash driver for that P15 position, and Drake does edge it into the corner, going to break late and get.
Hey, you know what? He's done that very nicely.
Yeah, great start.
Although now he's going to be under threat from behind.
And Hobbsy in the pits. What's happened to Hobbsy on that one? It's a nightmare start for the man in P5 in the championship. A poor qualifying session, and on lap 1 he's already in the pit, so it's a horrible start for Hobbsy. Will he go for the hards to the end maybe now? Yes, no, he's on the softs with a new wing now, so clearly an impact for Hobbsy there, but not a great start for him, as Tob's also come into the pits.
Yeah, of course, well, this track's so many sweeping corners, the tiny bit of wing damage can cost him a huge amount of time, especially early days when you can expect a safety car later down the line. It's worth pitting for a tiny bit of damage on the wing.
Razifi looks very, very quick. I mean, he showed it in qualifying, but already pulled over a second on big balls. He's lucky in the parts now, Razifi again. Only 11th in the championship, not had a great run of results this season, but you feel that, I mean, there's a long way to go in this race and things will change, but you feel tonight could be his night. He set a great pace in qualifying and already at second up on big balls. Looking very, very quick tonight is Razifi in the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, but also big balls pulling away from Nelu Safu himself as a half decent gap down to Strauss. So those
The gaps are already quite big, aren't they, really?
Yeah, among the front few guys.
Yeah, they're quite, I mean, they're not massive, but for 2 laps in, they're fairly big. The gap between DC and Cole Parrott is quite small. Actually, I think
Razifi may have made a mistake somewhere. That gap increased a fair chunk. DRS is now going to enable this next lap, and for the moment, there we go, Nelu Safu getting the fastest lap.
Interesting. So Nelu Safu clearly doing something right. I mean, he's the championship leader, you know, but up 2 places, already got ahead of his teammate and hunting down big balls and Razifi. There's a big battle here in the midfield between the likes of Carl Cohen, Cole Paradox and DC. Now, Carl Cohen will not want to be getting himself into any trouble here, picking up any damage, knowing that Nelu Safu's up the road from him. Just needs to try and keep his nose clean here and pick his battles, but he's got 2 Mercedes in front of him here that will not be easy to overtake.
Yeah, the Mercedes earlier on was scrapping quite a lot.
Penalty of the night.
I said that Mercedes still very close between the 2 of them. I think Carl just stuck behind ESW, not able to get through. Now DRS is enabled, 3 DRS zones on this track, one of them being that big main straight. So we might see a bit of, you know, drivers playing with that last hairpin to try and get the cutback, let the other driver through, have a faster exit and get that DRS. I don't know how much that's going to be attempted here.
Doolittle picking up a penalty, the first one. I don't think it'll be the last one tonight, but it is the first one for the Ferrari of Doolittle, who has got up 1 place. He's the highest median runner. He continues to be the highest median runner, but does pick up the first penalty of the evening.
Yeah, that 1 place, of course, coming from Captain Nick and his collision. We didn't see what happened there, or I didn't see what happened there.
Yeah, it does look like he tried going for a move in turn 1, but of course there was just no room. It just hit Cole Parrott. There wasn't much in it, but just hit him as Carl going for a move on his Mercedes teammate here. Mercedes a wheel to wheel into turn 1, and Carl's going to go for the move, and this conflict between the 2 Mercedes drivers, of course ESW isn't a full-time driver, so he's not necessarily Carl's teammate. He is tonight in terms of the car that he's in, but it's reserved versus Mercedes full-time here, and clearly there's no love lost between the 2 of them there, because it very nearly ended in tears for Carl. So this is one to keep an eye on. Will Carl try and come back at him? I'm sure Carl won't be happy with that. Little punk from his teammate there.
Yeah, certainly some impressive motor racing. No actual damage on the cars, just using all the room they had between each other.
It's Aston Martin versus the Mercedes battle. He's not much in it at all. Aston Martin currently leading the two Mercedes drivers, but I tell you what, they're very, very close. JR is right on the back end of Strauss and may have a look at a move very, very soon. Strauss down one, the only driver, Strauss, other than Carl, in the top 17 that's lost a place, and Alex loses a place to Drake. But it's a great battle here. As Big Balls, he's starting to reel in Ziffy as well. The gap has closed a lot from the second round to just 3 tenths. Here comes Big Balls, Drake's leading, baby. Is he going to try and go for it? No, he's not.
Why is that gap closed so much? I think there must be a mistake from Ziffy, given how much that gap closed up.
Well, he's in trouble here because he's got DRS, Big Balls, so the race league going to get it easily.
Yeah.
2 wins in 3 this season, Big Balls. 1 last week in Spain, and he's leading again. Ziffy losing his lead after keeping it for 5 laps. But I don't know if there's a mistake now, just pure patient Big Balls.
Well, the amount he gained, I'm not sure. He did seem to pull on the others a bit. Of course, the setup to play here is there's some corners, some straights, just deciding which you're going to go for. But also, if these two have any common sense here, they're going to work together. They're not going to fight too much. Of course, the overtake didn't cost them anything. It was just a slingshot in the DRS.
Yeah.
Whereas if he needs to find a bit of pace.
Yeah, I'm sure as if you want that place back, they will not want to be sat in second. They'll want to try and get a win. The yellow flag, it's 4 stars on the track as well. It could be a potential safety car. It is,
yeah.
A safety car.
Alex will be laughing. He's in the pit lane.
Well, it's gone from being a brilliant race to an awful race. A 4-star podium sitter last week, a driver of the week last week in Cone Racing League. But tonight, he's going to get absolutely nothing. He's going to become our first DNF for the night. It's a lap 5 safety car. You can see Tomes, who's currently in 20th, starting to pit as well. But 4-star, unfortunately for him. A great week last week, a terrible night tonight.
Yeah, now it's the question of what do the guys up front do? Because you're on, reasonably fresh soft tyres, but they've kind of had the majority of their prime used up around this track. You could try to switch to mediums now. They probably won't go to the end though. So give hard to go, but do you try now and make it a 2-stop, hope for another safety car? Or what gamble do you take? Do you even pit here? Big Balls is going to pit, as is Rizifi. So it's both Aston Martins, both Mercedes. Yeah, all the drivers going to the pit lane. I'll just say when the first driver doesn't go into the pit lane. It's DeWitt, the 2 Ferraris in their medium tyres, and of course it makes sense. Being on the mediums, those tyres still plenty happy.
We said it could favour DeWitt. Of course, yeah, he has got a penalty now. Both Ferraris, in fact. The only 2 drivers on track that have got penalties, which is interesting, but they do now go to the front. They'll try and defend for their lives, of course. Drake's also sticking, but of course the rest of the grid going on their mediums, possibly to the end if they can look after it. It'll be a tough stint, but I don't see why they can't do it.
Yeah,
of course, Dewell's got the softs to come, hasn't he, a little bit later on.
Yeah, Big Balls and Rizifi coming out in 4th and 5th position, actually, ahead of Lars and Sadistic King. So there are a couple of guys that came out ahead of.
Alex going for the softs.
But everyone else pitting.
Hobbsy, who's not had a great start, it's already second pit for Hobbsy, back on the medium, gone for a medium, soft medium in 6 laps. Hobbsy down in 18th, 5th in the championship. It's been a, fair to say, a nightmare start, a nightmare night for Hobbsy, really, out in Q1, and a really, really difficult start to this race, sat in 18th now, but there's a long way to go in this race. He's on the fresher tyres and he's back within the pack, or at least he will be when he catches up with the pack. There's a long way to go in. It will still end up being a good night for Hobbsy, but at the moment it's been a disappointing start for the man who sits 5th in the championship.
Yeah, Aston Martin safety car today, and Ferrari currently 1-2. I mean, they know that they are a pit stop down technically. They do still need to use the soft, or I guess the hard tyre if they want to. I think very much can be banking on the fact there's going to be another safety car at some point. Very high risk of that occurring. Actually, it was Underboss who put a screenshot of the Ferrari strategy discussion, which was asking DeWitt if he wanted slipstream for Q2 as he wasn't going to be going for Q3. DeWitt responded, no, he's not going for Q3 either. And then Underboss saying, oh, well, basically, whoops, didn't make it into Q3. So, yeah, they're executing the Ferrari master plan. But you know what, at the moment it's working.
They're the only 2 drivers that have got penalties. I'm sure more penalties will come. But, yeah, Ferrari 1-2 at the moment. We mentioned constructors, didn't we? The AlphaTauri, the Aston Martin, the Mercedes, the Alfa Romeos having both their Grand Prix Q3, but at the moment it's the Ferraris that
Yeah,
lead the race.
P2 in the constructors, only 40 points shy of the Aston Martin.
Well,
which
yeah, they shot up out of nowhere Ferraris this season. Well in the mix.
Tier 2 alone, with this finish, Ferrari would jump past it. Of course, there's still the other 3 tiers to come. Tier 1, currently somewhere in qualifying.
I would
I think
about
Alex
30 seconds just to do something very quickly.
Alex needed an invite. So I'm going to very quickly chuck Alex an invite. Hide my screen. What am I doing? Have I got Alex rendered? Guess not.
Apologies, I am now back. What's the problem? Sorry.
Alex is needing an invite. And I
I'll have a
cannot
look.
for the life of me remember what the letters are by his name.
Alex TG270903.
0903. I assume that's Alex asking for the invite.
yeah, he's ghosted on my screen, so he must be out of the.
Completely wrong then. Right, we're back.
He's back in. There we go. Sorted.
Nice.
But we should be good to go at the end of this lap. I can see that Tobes has
now caught up with the back.
the end of the queue, so we should be good to go. And it's pretty much me. It's interesting how Alex and Tobes are doing. And the only drivers on the soft, so they'll be hoping to set some good laps here and possibly gain a few positions until they pit again. However, it's easier said than done on this track. It's not easy to overtake at all. And I said it early in qualifying, when you go for these, you've got to make sure you nail it, because one little slip up could be costly for yourself and the opposition. So it'll be interesting. It is going to come in this lap though, so with that racing as we approach lap.
So the question is, where's De Will going to choose to go? Because around this track, you've got that massive straight. You don't really want to go at the start of it. You might want to wait till part way down, cause the drivers behind to have to defend. And if you can catch them sleeping, you're in a very good position. Of course, De Will not want to catch his teammate too off guard.
Yeah.
Let's see, coming down towards the last, really backing up the cars. You can see the safety car going off into the distance. All those drivers, like ants, just running around. Hang on, is he gone?
He has. He's took off. He's got his teammate Cole there. And the big ball's already.
Lars down a
right
couple of
on the
positions.
path.
What's happened here?
That's been a moment then. But look at big balls on Resifi. He's right
Lars
back
into
of
the
him.
pit lane.
Into turn one. There's contact between Drapes and the big balls.
As Resifi cuts the corner there, we see on board with him. He cuts the turn one.
Gets the place. Is that what he'll overtake? Right, he's got away with it by the looks of it. He gets past big balls. Yeah, don't know if something happened to Captain Nick as well there, because he's in the pits. But Resifi started really on the restart, apart from that silly penalty that he's got past big balls and he's right on the back end of Drapes. Of course, Drapes is not pitted on the mediums just yet, so the question is, how long can that top three defend for?
Naturally giving a bit of support here too. I assume that's Carl Paradox. Currently in 10th position behind the battle of Cal Cohen, who just centred on Sadistic King there up into 8th position on our P2 in the championship.
P1 in the championship, Nelly Saffron still sat 6th, but look at the battle ahead of us. Resifi with wheel to the Drapes on the inside. It's not an easy place to move, but Resifi again making it look very easy as he now hunts down that first of 2 Ferraris, which is MF_underboss, and he's right on the back end. Resifi's flying.
Yeah, he's going to get both of them in a few corners.
He's absolutely flying.
I can see behind actually here also Draper and Big Balls. Resifi pulling back a bit, but Draper and Big Balls still going at it.
Draper going to try and come back at him. He's going to try and defend it in the corner. And I think he's got it back.
Oh, bit of contact there into the wall. And you know what, Nelly Saff is going to say yes, please, and thank you. Yeah,
he's lost a lot of places there, Big Ball.
ASW as well.
He's pitting. Damage. Oh dear. It didn't look good. I must admit, it didn't look good from Drapes, that.
Yeah.
He looked like squeezing completely into the wall.
Draper now side by side with ESW through the first chicane. And he's lost those 2 positions as well. So both drivers lost out from that. Bit of overly aggressive driving from Draper.
I'm all for him fighting for his position, but that just wasn't on, was it? It was a silly move, that. And I'm sure that Big Balls will be very annoyed with that, down to 17th now. And I'd imagine the stewards may look at that one later on.
Yeah, and funnily enough, only our top 3 drivers. Never mind. I was going to say only our top 3 drivers in the penalties.
Always the case. Always the case.
Clerpiart bringing in the commentator's curse here. As Sadistic King on the inside of Strauss. Look at that side by side. Strauss on the outside does hold it. Now also Sadistic King under threat behind from Carl. Because the two of those guys are side by side. DRS not quite really enabled yet. As Carl gets the position. I think I just saw a bit of front wing.
Yeah, I think that's Clerc PR. Is it Clerc PR or is it Drifted King?
I don't know, Alex, they're dropping the position back there to Hobbsy. And this battle's still raging on.
There's battles everywhere, you can't take care of it, but P2 in the championship, Cal Cohen is hunting down that Red Bull. Drake has had contact with the other Alpha Tauri. So just make contact with both Alpha Tauris as Cal Cohen does remove. Drake's had contact with the Alpha Tauri in the last lap. Not again. Surely.
Oh, no.
There's contact again with both Alpha Tauri in the same position. Cal Cohen looked to have got away unscathed in comparison to his teammate, but Drake clearly doesn't like Alpha Tauri, does he?
No, not a fan, not a fan. What was this battle down for 12th at Clerc PR's leading this group? It was crazy in the second and third sector. Now calmed down a little bit. Two McLaren teammates seeming to come out of the back of it. I think Sadistic King possibly has some damage, although I can't see any on the front wing. So it remains to be seen.
I did see some end plate as well, like you did. I did notice that.
I don't know whose it was because no one.
Rosicky and Underboss. Here we go for P2. Can he break the Ferraris up? Underboss has got the inside line, or might come back. He's going to try and come back here. Round the corner, wheel to wheel. I think Underboss has kept the place. Can he make it?
No, I think Rosiffi's going to have the quicker exit speed. Yeah, there we go. Rosiffi does hold him off.
In fair play, Underboss made him work for that. Captain Nick replied, that's in the pits. It's not happened again. For Captain Nick, Rosiffi spins the car into the wall. How is he not doing that?
That's impressive.
How is he not DNF? Wow. That is ridiculous. We've just seen one Alfa Romeo retire in the pits. The other one's just gone into a walk, 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, he's got no front wing, that's for sure. But yeah.
I remember back in Australia when no one DNF like that. It's happening again. Do you remember in Australia when no one had DNF when they crashed into the wall?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at that.
Are they going 3 wide here into the hairpin? Not quite. Nelly Safra on the inside of ESW. Everyone playing around here. ESW coming ahead of Nelly Safra, who does have Underboss right behind him.
I do not know how. I mean, it's cost Rosicky a lot, of course it has, but how is he not retired there? I mean, he's counted the wall at 200 miles an hour. I mean, he's lost all his wing, but he's a very, very, very lucky boy that he's not retired the car. Very, and that's it seems to be quite a common occurrence. The pole sitter doesn't put a plan for the pole sitter in the race. Once again, that's in the case tonight as if he loses his wing.
Yeah, the battle for P2 raging on. Nelly Safra now up into second position. Underboss really dropping down now under threat from Carl Cohen, who I don't know if that was a tap on the rear there, but Carl Cohen is now up into fourth position. We wanted to hunt down ESW, but more importantly, hunt down Nelly Safra, 23 points behind the championship leader at the moment. And even if they finish 1-2, that's still 7-point difference, so can bring that gap down fairly significantly. I see Underboss threatened by Draper.
Oh, and the penalties are starting to rack up now. That's what, 6 drivers that have got a penalty. They are starting to.
Yeah, all just 3 seconds.
Part. I mean, Rosicky, I mean, he's not lucky in the sense that he's down in 18th now from second, but he's lucky that he's not out the race completely there. He's very, very lucky for the pole sitter. He's called Paradox. Flies past Drake.
Draper went for a move on Underboss, had to back out a little bit. Got Parks made the most of it.
The 2 of them, and I think Parks has got damage from that.
I don't think he did. I think he actually managed to keep it out the wall.
Wow. Draper's in the mood for a fight tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's just dropping down the order, though.
Oh, another one that could have got very ugly there.
Draper keeps going for positions and losing out because of it.
Nelly Safu into turn 1 for the race lead. Wheel to wheel, he's broke late. What a move, but here comes the SW. There's 3 of them battling. Nelly Safu has took the lead of the Grand Prix, but Doolittle and ESW are in this battle as well. That was a great move from Nelly Safu. So brave there to get past Doolittle in what was a difficult spot.
Yeah, Doolittle really much more comfortable in this tier. I know Doolittle spent plenty of time up in tier 1. He's won championships there as well as many races, but kind of wanted to take a step back a bit.
You wonder if Doolittle's needing to just starting to wear off a little bit now. He's just lost another play. He's done a great job on them, and he's got a big gap down to Carl Cohen. But you just wonder now that the fresher mediums are starting to kick into life, and Doolittle's. Oh, Carl Cohen's! Oh my God! Wow!
What did he do?
Carl Cohen lost the car on the edge of the corner and somehow saved it. He very nearly went fully into the wall. That would have been a disaster. A few close moments, and Carl Cohen, that's a very, very lucky man Lost the car, managed to save it back for quite easily. Ended
Draper and Strauss. Draper going deep. Strauss getting them position up to 9th position. This track certainly delivering on the racing front.
Ferrari versus Red Bull here with DC on the back of Underboss. Will he go for a move? I think Underboss for now has got the place, but DC going to break late.
Oof.
Go for a really good move. It's not worked out, and it may cost him because here comes the Mercedes car. It's Ferrari v Red Bull v Mercedes down the main straight. As we approach lap 14, there's an Alpine of Cole Parrott not too far ahead as well. DC once again going to try and get past Underboss, break late again.
No, he's alongside, he might get it.
Contact again. Carl might get them both. He's got past one of them.
Oh, he's lost.
What a back.
DC is up into 6th. Carl, no, stays ahead of Underboss. Underboss dropping 2 positions in a couple of corners.
So we're looking at all our 2 DNFs here. There's been a lot of close calls. Only 2 DNFs so far.
One of which was in the pit lane.
Brilliant. Very true, but some brilliant racing here. There's Carl, DRS on DC. Might fancy him on DC. DC has managed to get DRS off Cole Paradox, though, which will for now keep him ahead of the Mercedes driver. But there's some brilliant battles all around the track at the moment as we just past the midway point of this race. As Alex retires, that's also in the pits. That's your 3rd DNF of the night. And Alex in the pits has retired from the race.
You know, this track does seem like it's the kind of track that doesn't really have that many overtaking opportunities, but actually, I think the vast majority of the track does allow drivers to really race hard here. Of course, this game not having the same shortfall of F1 as the cars are all completely equal, so it's down entirely to the drivers, and they're giving it their all, and all of them so close together. We can see here, Carl got the run on DC, going to try on the outside, heading towards the last corner. And it looks like he is pulling ahead, just now need to hold it in the braking zone. Yep, does stay ahead. DC will then have the DRS range. DRS to try and cut back. Cole Paradox, though, giving DRS to Carl, and Carl actually better exit out the last corner.
Carl might get him here.
Do you know what? Yeah, Carl might get 2 of them in just as many corners.
He will get him quite easily. He's going to fly past him. DC might also have a look on Cole Paradox. Not now, but certainly as this lap 14 progresses, the gap then down to Underboss has gained a little bit. Strauss also not really in the mix at the moment. Obviously, to be fair, just going about his job very quietly. He's in a decent position, 11th on the medium tyre, doing okay. And I think the big shout here is if you can avoid penalties, quite a lot of the drivers have got at least 1 penalty here. More will come, and if a late safety car comes out, you've got no penalties, you could be in a great position.
Yeah, but also keep an eye on
There's another one.
Club already has some actually, I think. As Hobbsy picks up 3 seconds,
Hobbsy,
just as you mentioned.
The commentator curse again.
But yeah, DeWill, Underboss and Draper all still on 13 lap odd mediums. That is actually sticking further down the order, so they're now really start to feel it. Tyres nearing the end of their life, not quite there just yet. Soon they'll be wanting to change onto the softs, but they want to try and extend that. Hope for a safety car and pit under safety car if they can. Save them a lot more time as Alex. Where's he gone off?
He's out of the race. He DNF'd in the pits a couple of laps ago.
No. Missed that.
Here comes for the race lead then. JR the Mercedes has got DRS on Nelu Safu here. And he's right on the back end of him. He'll get more DRS down the straight as we approach lap 15. And Nelu Safu got a better exit there. Will that save him though? I'm not too sure. EFW saved his battery as well, so you'd expect the Mercedes here to possibly lead the Grand Prix.
I'm not sure he's quite near enough. No, not really able to get it done, but you can see here DeWill closing up right behind him and Calco not too far of him. The top 4 drivers might very well have been within a second at one point.
He's doing a great job, DeWill here. Really good job on them older mediums.
Draper pitting for some fresh softs.
DeWill will be looking for a safety car, so he won't get fresh softs on.
Yeah. All those guys in the older medium tyres, Draper not taking that risk.
What a battle for the lead. As once again, EFW is going to get DRS on Nelu Safu. It's not going to be enough to get close to the Aston Martin, our current driver champion, once again taking it by storm tonight. Started down in 5th, I think he's best qualifying, but you know, doesn't make a difference when you're that quick. And once again, leading the race, looking to extend that championship lead in the Aston Martin ahead of Calcone, who, to be fair, isn't too far away.
Yeah, actually,
DC's still stuck behind Cole Paradox, which he has been for a while. A bit further down the track. Cole Paradox doing a good job tonight, just to solidify that P6. DC is going to get DRS, and Cole Paradox get DRS as well.
Calcone on the inside of DeWill into the last corner, and I think he's going to have this move. Yeah, easily through.
Going to fly past Cole Paradox and eventually get past him. However, Cole Paradox will get DRS here, won't he, to come back? Not a great exit though, and DC will get DRS off Carl, gets his will, so that should protect.
I think we might have a change for the lead here. ESW on the outside, Nelu Safu. And he, flies through easily enough over speed to get that move done.
Is it Hamilton Verstappen now? Because look at the car ahead of Carl Cohen as ESW nearly loses his car himself, and that could invite Nelu Safu back. But Nelu Safu and Carl Cohen very close together now. This could get interesting.
See, look how closely they're following. It's going to get even more interesting with this F1 2022 when that game comes out. The cars are supposed to have to follow each other closer.
Paradox getting a penalty. And that could be costly, all the work he's done. But could we see Hamilton Verstappen collision like we did here in real life? Because Nelu Safu, champion leader, has got his championship rival very, very close to the back of him. And we could potentially see some wheel-to-wheel battle between the top two. Nelu Safu...
I think he's going to get a warning for that one.
Oh, they've got a warning there, surely. I'm going to check that. Surely. Let's have a look.
You would have thought so. It wasn't even a small car either.
He did get a warning.
Yeah.
Did get a warning.
How many's on at the moment? Just the one, or has he got...
Oh, I will have a look. He's on... That's his first one.
No, it's just... Okay, so, yeah, not doing too bad then if he's 16 laps in.
Yeah, that's his first one, that one. Oh, no. It's not his first one. It's his second one. It's his second warning.
Need to play it more carefully then. The gap's
he's going to be saved again with DRS here. Carl Cohen's not really gained on him, has he? He's lost him a little bit.
The gap's a bit larger on the straight. DeWill still holding on to that group on these older tyres.
I think a 3-second penalty here could be huge. It could be massive. Because the gaps aren't that big.
And especially if there's a safety car. If there's a safety car near the end and you're all still clumped from that.
This race is flown by 17 laps already. Really quick. Only one safety car, only 3 DNFs and 2 of them in the pit lane. Plenty of close calls. And plenty of if-buts and maybes. And there is the Nelu Safu penalty.
We talked about it, it's happened. Big. We know he's the driver who does seem to get penalties a lot.
Carl Cohen will jump in, won't he? And that will close the gap in the championship. Of course, there's a long way to go in this race. Things will change, but as it stands, Carl Cohen will beat Nelu Safu and will close that gap in the championship a little bit.
Yeah, I think if I had to call out one weakness of Nelu Safu's, it's that he's not very good at avoiding penalties. Everything else, the consistency, the pace, he's got it. It's just that avoiding penalties has bit him so many times.
Cohen's eyes would have lit up when he's seen that come up on his stream. But Nelu Safu's got a penalty. He will know that he can stay in that for a second. I mean, you want to try and get past him and fight JR for that win, no doubt about it. But I'm sure Carl Cohen would have been very happy when he's seen that penalty pop up on Nelu Safu's screen just then. He got DRS again, but so is Nelu Safu. That's a at the moment for Carl Cohen. And Nelu Safu might come back at you. I think Nelu Safu can get the race lead here on the straight. He's very close here, and DRS may help him out.
And he's got a good exit, yeah. No, already gaining loads and loads of time, bucket loads. He's got ERS, he's got DRS, he's got a huge amount of slipstream. And that is him through back into the lead. Of course, that 3-second penalty. It's going to be costly.
Well, it's going to drop him a couple of places at the moment. So ESW can't. Duel, of course, as well, but he's still got he's done a great job on it. I'm just thinking, Duel here, he is waiting for a safety car. He would have pitted by now. He's hoping and praying for a safety car here, and there's still time. But the longer it goes, the mediums are going to start to feel a little bit meh now. And you just wonder how long can you wait? You know, it's going to get to the point very soon where you need to pit Duel here.
Yeah, drivers now started to spread out a little bit. We've got this lead battle still going on though. DeWill dropped off from it, and then we've got that battle for 7th between Cole Paradox and our current P3 in the championship. Strauss wants to try and pull up a bit more. Not had a good last couple of races. So we're hoping to change the tone of that. The only driver really ahead he can afford to pick off. With Cole Paradox obviously on track, and then DeWill from when he inevitably needs to pit. Cole Paradox making a mistake there, picking up a warning, going much slower. Strauss trying to capitalise on that, pulling it alongside the Alpine, and he is through into P7. Yep, there we go. The position now complete.
A tier 1 winner versus a tier 2, a tier 3 winner up last year. Strauss and Paradox love a battle. Once again, that's a Cal Cohen on. I think he got the place then and then lost it again. It looked like he got ahead of him on my screen and then lost it again as Cal gets past Duwill. But here comes Cal Cohen. They're both hunting down Nelu Safu with DRS. This could get interesting.
Not sure we're going to catch the Aston Martin, but look at that front 3. Half a second split in the 3 of them.
I think Nelu Safu will be happy that's not a Mexico straight there, because if it was, I think he could have been in trouble for 2 places.
Yeah,
DeWill
have this one moment.
Penalty bingo here. A lot of them are getting penalties now.
Yeah, and we saw that Carl getting past DeWill towards the final corner, and then DeWill getting him back on the main straight. That is, of course, the risk of getting someone in that second DRS zone. They're just going to get you right back on the main straight if they're close enough. As DeWill makes a small mistake there.
Penalties are starting to rack up. Carl gets past him, but look at Carl Cohen and ESW. They both getting constant DRS on Nelly Saffron. Of course, has that penalty. The top three, only one of them has a penalty at the moment. Nelly will drop to third here.
But Nelly Saffron's pulled away. He's got that gap. 1.2 seconds, he's out of DRS. And if ESW is having to defend from Carl Cohen, unless they kind of slingshot work together to catch back up with our championship leader, Nelu Saffron, we've seen he has the pace. He can just fly away off into the distance. There's a mistake there from Carl Cohen. Loses a bit of time for him.
The majority of the grid have got a penalty here. The penalties are really starting to come into play now. As we approach lap 20, DeWill still not pitted. He's hoping and praying for that late bit of luck and that late safety car. But the later it goes in this race, you think it's not going to happen for him. They both got DRS. I don't know, they have.
ESW, yeah, a very strong last corner from him compared to Nelly Saffron, and that does get him back into the DRS zone. Very much needed in order to try and challenge for that win. And we'll have to defend from Carl Cohen. No, Carl Cohen not going for the move. Possibly thinking he just want to catch Nelly Saffron or stay on the back of him.
DeWill's doing a great job.
Yeah, on these tyres.
He'll be hoping he doesn't have to pit, but Carl's going to come back at him here. And he's going to get him back, I think. Oh, DeWill's going to try and hold it. Oh, it's ESW. That's a penalty now. It's all going off now. That's a penalty.
Yeah, we saw very much off-track overtake.
Well, Carl Cohen's favourite for the race winning here now. Avoiding the penalty, he's going to win the race. As long as he can stay in that gap. But at the moment, he's the favourite. The penalties are really starting to cost these drivers now. And in fairness to DC's, another one, Stroud, they're going to jump drivers here. No, if the late safety gap comes out here, and you've not got a penalty, you're in a fantastic position. And there's still time for a safety car yet.
Only just.
I'd say lap 23 is the latest. It's going to be close. And DeWill's not pitted yet.
Is he our only driver? He is our only driver, but I mean, he's doing a mighty fine job. He's been fighting Carl.
He's hoping and praying for that safety car, but it's looking less and less likely by the second. But Carl Cohen at the moment is the favourite for the race. As Clerpiard, the penalties again went into play. But Carl Cohen at the moment, knowing that without penalties, he can keep it clean, but stay in that gap between that top two. It's his race to lose, and Nello Saffron now could lose his race lead because they both going to get DRS of him again here. ESW's got a good exit, not a lot of battery, but has got DRS. He's going to hunt Nello Saffron down. Will he have enough in the tank to challenge him into turn one? I think he will. Nello Saffron goes defensive on the inside, and for now, keeps that place. But look how close the top three are.
Goes deep.
Goes wide.
Goes wide, and that's ESW into the lead.
How close is it at the wall, though? No damage. But a poor mistake from the championship leader to gift the lead away from Mercedes. These two have got to fight because they've got the same amount of penalties. They've got to fight for the position.
Yeah, that's
so as it stands, Carl Cohen will win
P2.
the race. Nello Saffron will go down to third. It's a big difference, that. And plenty of points gained from Carl Cohen. Back onto Nello Saffron. We had a look then, didn't we, to try and go for the move on the Mercedes. But as it stands, Carl Cohen will win the race. Nello Saffron will only get third.
Yeah, that would be 12 points gained on his championship rifle. And there's only 23 points, more than half the gap down to Nelly Saffron.
Things can still change, there's still time here. Nello Saffron, to be fair, is now hunting down ESW to try and get the lead back on the Mercedes driver. Carl Cohen just waiting behind, knowing that he doesn't have to do anything here. Just take his time, and he'll be fine. As nearly contact, and Nelly Saffron loses the car, and that will invite Carl Cohen. Could we see the two championship leaders going wheel to wheel? There's a good chance. But the pressure on these three drivers here, knowing that one little mistake, it could be over. Nello Saffron going to try and go on. ESW, it's a good exit from Nello Saffron, but Carl Cohen's also going to get DRS here, but you've got to think Nello Saffron will get the lead back on the Mercedes.
All this fighting, Carl's starting to close this gap up a little bit to these guys up front.
He is. ESW can go from first to third here, potentially, but no, he stays second. But Carl Cohen knows not to force anything here. You know, four laps to go. Keep it clean. Stay in the gap at the DRS of these three. These two. And it's a race win for Carl Cohen. Back with a bang. That's got to be a warning for ESW as well. Surely.
Yeah, I think Carl Cohen in a great position here, but also Carl. Now he's no longer fighting DeWill, who's still holding out for that safety car. He's going to have to pit eventually.
Nello Saffron's took off all of a sudden here again. He's gone. Pulled over a second on ESW there.
He seems to be very strong at the first sector, and then kind of the middle sector, they're similar pace. but he seems a bit reluctant to use his ERS towards the end and just gets pulled back.
Oh,
There's Draper, that's her on the last corner.
Surely
Safety car!
Oh!
And Lars straight into the pit lane. He's...
Oh my god, and do will can pit. Oh my god, we're gonna have 1 lap of racing potentially here. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, I
And
think
if
you're right.
DC and you're Strauss and you're Big Balls and you're Sadistic, you're going to be laughing. Wow. Oh my god, who pits for the softs? Who dares to pit for the softs? There's 3 laps to go.
Yeah, no, and there is only going to be 1 lap of racing. It's going to be a 1 lap shootout. Drivers going to be very careful of
my
penalties.
God. And Durrell, to be fair to him, he's been so patient. 22 laps on the mediums, he can finally pit for the softs. We're only in the top 3.
No, Nelu Safu pretends to pit, doesn't. He's staying out, yeah. And the more of them that stay out, the more of them it makes sense to stay out.
Oh,
De Will into the pit lane, Strauss.
I tell you what, all of a sudden DC's on for a podium here. He's on for a P2. DC.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. I mean, Nelu Safu, I tell you what, Nelu Safu's in trouble because he's going to lose places to Cal Cohen, to DC, possibly even to his teammate Strauss as well. I mean,
Well, Strauss is
on the
pitting for some
fresh
fresh
softs.
softs.
Big Balls gets a 10 under the safety car. What an error.
Come on.
How do you do that?
Where was he on track?
Literally 1 lap of racing here. This is ridiculous.
I think he must have cut the pit lane entry. The only place.
And you're going to see fresh softs 1 lap, and they're going to give it all. Wow, we're going to see literally a 1 lap restart shootout for the win.
I think
this is crazy. Who's going to catch up? That's the question. They're not all going to catch up. The Haas that's not even crossed the line. Yeah, he
well, but
catch up.
the Haas has pitted because the Haas pitted almost immediately after safety car was called. Safety car not going to be coming in until it will literally be 1 lap, I think.
Tell you something. If you're Strauss here on fresh soft with no penalties, who's not really been in the race at all, so I'm not even mentioning Strauss, all of a sudden he becomes a big favourite for at the very least a podium. I mean, if you're Nelu Safu, you're at risk of not getting a podium. Nelu Safu, we know he's good at getting away in that sector 1. He's got to get away well here, Nelu Safu, and just try and defend.
Yeah,
things.
he's going to lose
places.
Restart.
He's just going to try and get away well and just defend and keep as many positions as possible. But if you're Strauss on them fresh shots, even DC, no penalties, you're on for a podium here, out of nowhere. It's literally going to be a 1 lap race. No, it's not.
No.
It's going to be a 2 lap race.
Oh, and Lars and Sadistic, you need to get a bit of a move on. They will have 2 laps to play with.
That makes things even more interesting. It's going to be a 2 lap shootout, not a 1. Don't make a spot. No, I'm going to the pit. Screw this. Let's do a race.
So Nelu Safu, I reckon he'll be a late starter.
Not going to catch up here. Wow, here we go. 2 laps then. So it's unfortunate for Lars and Sadistic. They're not going to catch up in time.
What happened to your 9-car DNF?
It could still happen. It could still happen here. Oh, he's gone now. He's caught them all cold. Here we go then. 2 laps.
Carl, a very good start for him already.
Saudi Arabian Grand Prix winner. Here we go. 2 lap shootout.
Put it alongside for P3 already, alongside Carl Cohen. No, deciding better of it. See, not actually too many moves going on here. Most drivers just kind of settling into the groove.
Look at the train though. Look how close they are. I've got 2 laps of this. It's going to end. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be crazy. There's still a chance of penalties. There's still a chance of collisions. The drivers have got to go for moves now.
Carl taps the wall. And we've got to keep an eye on De Will on those fresh softs because he's a fast driver. He's flying already. See, that's behind him actually is Strauss trying to get past Clerpiar. Strauss on those fresh soft tyres. Clerpiar with his, I think, 9 seconds of penalties currently. Yeah, 9 seconds. And is Strauss already up into 7th position without any penalties. He can move up the order. He can be looking for a podium if he can keep close enough. Maybe only P4. The closer he can get, the better for him.
We mentioned Hobbsy, who had a poor qualifying. He's up to 8 now, only 3 seconds of penalties. He could jump up into that top 6 by the end of the race as well. But for now, Cal Cohen is still, as it stands, with just over a lap to go, going to be the race winner here. But things can change in a lap.
Yeah, of course, there's a huge mistake here by Clerpiar going off track and dropping down to 11th, no 12th, actually maybe even 13th position. And of course, the thing to remember is not going to be any DRS. It's entirely down to ERS management. What drivers can do. Actually, only 2 laps of ERS.
There we go.
Carl should have used more, maybe.
In the first ever Saudi Grand Prix, here comes Cal Cohen, who is flying down that straight towards ESW, but I don't think he'll have enough in the tank to pass him. He doesn't need to pass him.
No.
He just needs to stay within 3 seconds, but he's got some pressure behind him. There's a trend behind Calco and that will
Ooh,
want to pass in here.
and a mistake there by ESW. Managed to hold it though.
What a race this is, and we're on the last lap, and it's still all to play for. They have no idea who's going to be on the podium by the end of this lap. Who's going to win the race? There's still so much to play for. It still could all be lost within one little mistake. But what a 25 laps this is.
Not quite close enough to Nelly Safi.
Oh, the SW's got another penalty. That's his podium gone. He's been in the top 3 all race. And a penalty at the end of the course. That's 6 seconds. Oh no! Wow. Unbelievable lap. ESW has been in the top 3 all race. Isn't going to end on the podium. Is Nelu Safi going to end on the podium? That's the fact. I think he may just end up on the podium. What a race.
Yeah, I think he's only just going to stay ahead of Strauss. Strauss now looking for a move on De Wil. Right behind him.
De Wil's gone wide.
Really goes wide. I think Strauss is going to go for the move then. Well, Strauss, without any penalties, he wants to avoid getting any. He's going to gain a lot of positions if he can, but he just wants to go as fast as he can down that main straight. So we have a look, currently 4 seconds behind De Wil, so he's not going to be able to get that position on the inside of... So 4 seconds behind his teammate. Stays behind De Wil. As you can see here, Nelu Safi taking the win, but penalties mean...
Oh, DC's got second!
Cal Cullen gets the win, Nelu Safi in third, Strauss in fourth.
Hobbsy's got fifth. Wait, what happened? What?
Paul Paradox getting 5th position. Sorry.
Now, one thing that's going to need looking at by the view is that ESW got a 20-second penalty there. That's a glitch. He's not dropped that many places, that's for sure. So that'll need looking at. Where that will finish, I'm not too sure. I'd have to work it out. But he's not got 20 seconds of penalty, that's for sure. But some brilliant result. DC in the end has got a second. Out of nowhere. Hobbsy, who's got 5th. What a result for Hobbsy. After an awful start, he was last after lap 1. That's mental. Absolutely mental. Well done to Hobbsy. What a race. What a race that is.
Yeah, Underboss in the end getting the fastest lap. Here we go. Cal Cohen back on top of his form, taking another win for himself this season, closing that gap down to just 11 points now behind Nelu Safi. Strauss, of course, dropping further behind the two of them, only picking up 23 points from this race. And I can't be able to do the maths, but it's going to end up being a fairly sizable gap. I think nearly 50 points between him and Nelu Safi. Be about 40 down to Cal Cohen. You can see here Cal Cohen just not getting penalties. And he does take that win. DC in second position. Nelu Safi finishing off the podium with his teammate just behind him. Of course, there was the glitch of ESW, and I'm sure he will appeal that. I think he only got 9 seconds of...
6, I think he got.
It's saying he's got 3 lots of penalties, so I guess it might have been...
Okay,
oh, yeah, no, it would have been 6 plus the 20 that just randomly got them to him. So, yeah.
I'm going to give my driver day to Hobbsy, I think, there. Not 15th to 5th. But he was last after that one, having to pit. After that, so a bit of luck with the safety car, but 3 stops for Hobbsy there. And a P5 from 15th. So my driver day goes to Hobbsy. I thought he was excellent there.
Yeah, a very good drive from him. And
once again, it's the usual suspects of Cal Cohen and DC that get podiums. I mean, I don't know where DC's podium come from in the end. That was ridiculous. It looked like it wasn't going to happen, and then bang.
Well, Nelu Safi, of course, another podium. The one man who seems to keep getting on the podium is the one who doesn't do podium interviews.
Yeah, he's waiting for that championship win, isn't he? Waiting for that championship win.
But yeah, if you can let the drivers know, I'm going to add them into this channel. Of course, DC can just join whenever he wants. Being a head admin, he got permission to join anywhere and everywhere. I'll quickly add Cal Cohen.
Oh, what a race, as always.
And I imagine Cal Cohen will be very happy to come back with that form.
He'll take that. What a race.
Actually, a very, very solid result by Aston Martin. They do get, and points is it? I think 51 points between the two drivers. So they'll be happy for that constructors-wise. Of course, not the best result they could have got, but not too shabby.
Yeah, Aston Martin looking strong this season. Relentless.
I assume you've given the drivers a ping of sorts.
I have. I messaged them both.
Hopefully they'll be
I
joining
have
us
messaged them both.
shortly. Yeah, and already Carl typing in instant report, so I wonder what that one is for. It's my PS4's.
There'll be a few, I think, there.
My PS4 currently attempting to take off, so I apologise if you can hear that.
Sounds like an airport. They're going to both join the channel now. They both just replied to me, so we should have them with us in a moment. Oh.
Trying to remember what the order was. Who got P2?
DC got second.
Oh yeah.
Falcon first, and then Nelly third. They're both going to be joining any second now, all being well.
Good evening.
Oh, hello, hello. You're back again.
Here he is again.
Oh.
Like you've never been away.
I'm sweating.
Well. These two again.
The real DC.
Something needs to change it, because I'm sick of speaking to these two every week.
Just said it's a rear wing
I
race.
reckon we'll just let these two commentate every week. See, we're here every week anyway, aren't they? Chatting to us, so I can just let them commentate.
I've been staring at his rear wing all race and he's here.
Right, we'll start. We'll make Calcone wait a minute. I'm sick of talking to him all the time, so we'll make him wait. I mean, Dan, no disrespect, but we did not expect to be talking to you when there was about 3 laps to go, and then bang, safety car comes out and you get second.
Don't you worry about it, mate. Me neither.
How did you feel when that safety car come out?
See, initially, so I'll get my recording, but initially I was annoyed because I was banking on just the Carl's pens, and Will had to pit anyway, so I was banking on P4. And it was just a case of as long as I didn't spin, that was a given. But then the safety car came out, and I was annoyed because I thought everybody was going to have a chance to get away from me. People behind me were going to battle me for it because I knew Strauss was behind me, with no pens as well. So I knew there was trouble. But then it's a case of as soon as I realised that people in front of me, such as who was it, Nelu and ESW Junior had pens, I knew I just had to send it. And then I saw Calcone in front of me and knew I wasn't getting the win.
Yeah, because we mentioned on commentary tonight, if you can avoid penalties, you could be on for a really good result, especially if a safety car comes out. We didn't expect to see a safety car that late in the race, so it shocked us as well, like, for it to come out right at the death there.
No, me neither, and it did save me. If anything, it's probably one of the luckier podiums of the season. But it's a case of you got to take the bad with the good. I've had a few bad weeks. I was expecting another one this week, obviously starting P9. But man, it's like you said, just stayed penalty free, and I'm here.
So you say look, but on the flip side of it, the majority of the grid got a penalty tonight, and you didn't. So it's it's about keeping the car on the track. I mean, going back to when I won the championship last year, I did a lot of that myself, just avoid penalties. And then you get a bit of luck. You need a bit of luck, don't you? But on the flip side of it, you avoided penalties, which is not easy to do on a track like this. Easy to get penalties. So by avoiding penalties, keeping yourself in the race, and you got your reward for it. Was very good.
Well, yeah, I had 2 warnings, and I knew that right at the end. So it was a case of keeping it on track, even if I was a bit slower than the people ahead of me. I knew they'd battle for those positions, which they did. And it was a case of to keep it in between the white lines, don't get another one, and a podium was on. I didn't expect P2, which you'll hear from my reaction to it because I burst my own eardrums, but it's a good result.
I was going to ask you what you think about next week, but it's a break week next week, so you can
What?
enjoy a week off.
Double break week.
I know.
We got 2 weeks off back to back.
Oh, is it 2? Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
Because
I thought you meant there was.
format change.
When you told me that before, I think you meant there's a break week next week and then another one in the season. I didn't know it was 2 weeks in a row.
No, so it's a format change, so we can go back to having 3 and 4 before 1 and 2.
All right, we'll see you next year then.
Oh, Jacob just crashed in Q3 in Tier 1.
Enjoy your holiday. Great, not a bad way to end it before the break. I was going to ask you what the track is. I don't even know what it is after the break week. And that's caught me off guard a little bit. I know it was 2 weeks. It is Austria. So 2 week break before Austria.
Big track.
And you're in the Red Bull, so you know a lot of pressure on Austria.
Well, yeah. As long as I'm confident around that track, but it is very, very close. I know that there can be literally milliseconds in it, and especially with this man Calco in there, it's a case of those milliseconds will count. So I've just got to get a practice in over these next 2 weeks.
Well, not a bad way to end going into the break. Another podium, another P2. Out of nowhere, I guess. That one. I mean, there's been a few times this season where we knew you was going to get on the podium. That one was a little bit unexpected. I think that's fair to say.
No.
You agree
Yeah,
yourself?
no. I do agree.
But, you know, keeping it on. I don't know who's got the safety car for you. I can't remember, but whoever it was, I think you told them a thank you for that.
It was my teammate.
Ooh. Crashgate P2.
I was
Need to look
in a
that.
party with him. In a party.
Yeah,
with him.
yeah, I bet he was.
I was fuming at first, like I said, proper kicking off at him because he was next to no one, I don't think. And I was like, just keep it on the track. Why have you done this to me? But it worked out. So there may be a few what's the word? Investigations.
Yeah, well, I think we need to put that audio from that party. I think that's what we need. We need proof. But no, very good job, mate. Again, and a good solid result for you. So very well done.
And then Cal Cohen coming back after missing 2 weeks, immediately back into a win. I think gap's down to 11 points now to Nelly Safi after this race.
Ooh,
So
lovely.
Looking strong.
Also, I just want to start off with, I don't know who of you two said it, but the question was who is on pace at the moment, I mean, driving the best at the moment, and one of you said Nelu Safu.
That was me.
Well, here I am.
Yeah. I think
I took that question.
the big difference between you two is you don't get penalties. He seems to get them every week.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course I wanted to win it on track, but you know, you have to keep it on the track, so
Yeah.
that was a bit lucky.
I'm sick of talking to you every week, I'll be honest.
I'm used to the sound of your voice now, Calco, and it's fine. We've got past this.
DC, it looks like you're getting driver of the day vote so far. There's 5 different drivers up there, but you've got 4 votes.
I appreciate. Like you said, there's 20 of us, so I could still not. Right, it's nice. I appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Don't say thank you to me that I didn't vote for you.
Well, that's fine. I expect that from you, Hedge. Anyway.
Hey mate, it was you or Hobbsy, but I just picked Hobbsy in the end. He had a good
Yeah,
drive.
I don't blame you. I've just seen his result. It's 15th to 5th. So yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, he was last after lap 1. He was dead last, and he had to pit 3 times. It was a good recovery from Hobbsy. But Cal Cohen, very quickly, you've missed 2 races this season, yet you're still arguably the favourite for the. Probably are. I know you're not top of the championship, but I'd say you're favourite with you missing 2 races. I mean, how do you do it? Like, how do you miss 2 races yet still be at the top? It's ridiculous.
I don't know.
Get in tier 1.
I'd be lost if I was there.
Yeah, you're not slow, are you?
No, but I mean, who knows? Maybe next year. But the tier 1 guys, they're just on another level.
Well, you're not doing a bad job. Like I said, missing 2 races and still being. Would you say it was round 9 tonight? I think.
Yeah, today round 9, so just 6 rounds left after this one.
Yeah.
Let's get into the business end of the season now. You got a 2-week break and then you're in Austria.
I need to work on my qualifying.
He says starting. What was it? Where did he start? 6th.
7.
It's not even that bad.
Yeah, I messed up my last 2 runs. I invalidated both.
And he's looking at my qualifying like he's starting 20th. He's still 7th. That's not bad.
Well, I was far off. I'm like a couple tens.
Yeah, you're not doing a bad job. I mean, what I was going to ask you very quickly as well. I meant to ask you before, but obviously you was in 3rd for a lot of that race behind the top 2. Obviously, who was the Aston? Was it Nelu and
Strauss, the other Aston.
Sorry, the Mercedes. I forgot his name.
Oh, Carl was it?
Junior.
Oh yeah. So you was behind them 2, but obviously knowing they had penalties, was it just a case of just sticking with them?
Yeah,
Or
well,
was, he
at first,
was he a temptation to overtake them as well?
well, just before the safety car, because I was pushing like very hard to like keep up with them. But then I think ESW got overtaken by Nelu, and he was out of DRS, and I had lot, and I was just about to, start making a move, and then the safety car came out. So I was planning on trying something.
Did you have any warnings in that race?
I had one in the first stint somewhere.
Oh, so
But-
you didn't have to. You wasn't on at risk of a penalty. Then you had another warning.
No, luckily not. Otherwise, would have been a bit.
No, but I mean, there you go. Enjoy your 2-week break, lads, and I'm sure we'll speak to you both again very soon. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah,
Let's hope it.
at least it won't be for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe
Won't be for 3
maybe
weeks.
for one time the other way around. DC.
Well done, lads. Take care.
Well done, boys. Well done on the week.
well done.
Love it, mate.
Yeah, you too. Well done, mate.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, it's
Cheers. Talk to you guys in 2 weeks.
Oh, look at him.
Three.
He loves it,
It's
doesn't he?
2-week
He loves
break.
it. He loves it. He loves it.
Right, there we go.
Yeah, I didn't know it was
That
2
late
weeks.
safety car.
I assumed it was one and then another break late. I didn't know it was 2 full weeks. That's a long time.
Yeah,
isn't
so not for another 3 weeks till we race again.
it? Oh,
Uh,
that's a shame.
yeah, if you're still here watching us, Tier 1's
Say it
about
every
to start their
week. What are you
formation
doing?
lap. Go away.
What are you doing? Yeah, why are you still here? I'll say it every week. What you doing here? What are you doing? Go away. I'll
But-
tell you what's interesting about Austria. Knowing that it's 2 weeks away, but it's a very good track to come back on into.
No, the track's 3 weeks away. There's a 2-week break.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yes, sorry.
We'll get there.
2
We'll get there.
weeks,
We'll get there.
Right, it's 3 weeks away. So I mean that's a long time. So it's a good
Yeah.
track to come back into. I'm gonna forget myself. I'll be here next Thursday waiting to commentate.
Well, you only
To
have
get
1
in
week
next
break, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
2-week break for commentary, 1 week
Ah.
break for your driving.
I'm gutted. I'm sad. I'm sad. It's 3 weeks. What are we gonna do for 3 weeks?
Actually, that does mean you are the driver who gets the opportunity. Well, it's your tier who gets the opportunity to do each race first, because you're tier 3, right?
Well, I was. I'm now a tier 4 reserve on the wheel.
Oh right. Oh yeah, no, I remember
So,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's tier
Yeah,
3 that now
so
get the
that's
first shot at each track. Because they
Yeah.
do tier 3 before tier 4, just because that's the way the drivers voted it. So
Yeah. It's a shame. 3 weeks. But but look forward to Austria. Will be a great race to come back into. I mean, it was great tonight. It was a fantastic battle. And if you are still in the stream, like I say, I don't know what you're still doing here. Go and watch tier 1.
the links in the description, the links in the chat. They're on the halfway around the formation lap, so go watch them.
Yes.
Jacob messed up his qualifying in Q3, put it in the wall, so he's starting 10th.
And we'll see you in 3 weeks.
Yeah. So goodbye from us.
See you soon. Take care.